Yep.
Tremendous.
Thank you. Branding, Brent.
Did you
All
get-
about that branding.
Honeybees don't believe in child labor laws.
They
When
don't.
a bee is born, it's their job to clean out the honeycomb cells and also keep the hive warm. Honeybees only live up to 50 days. Female honeybees are responsible for guarding the hive and making the honey, while the male's only job is to mate with the queen.
What a life, huh?
What a life. I think
Yeah.
people would sign up for that. Now, honeybee is the only insect that produces food eaten by man. Honeybees go buzz. That was all capitals. I wonder what happened on that
Do you know
play.
what play that was? Take a guess.
The interception?
No, it had some analytics.
Oh, that was the 4th and 2.
No,
I'm sorry, the
two-point
two-point
conversion. Yeah.
If the queen bee dies, workers will create a queen by selecting a young larva and feeding it special food called royal jelly. This
Shout out to
enables the
royal jelly.
larva to develop into a fertile queen. Takes 1 ounce of honey to fuel a bee's flight around the world. Really?
Yeah.
Around the world?
Around the world. Well, because, I mean, they have small bodies, Brent, keep in mind. Like, they don't eat
Yeah.
that much honey, obviously.
I hear you.
Yeah.
1 ounce. That's interesting.
Yep.
Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Monday. Jags lose again. Austin Lane delivering an education on bees
At
and
least to
honeybees.
learn something.
And so the idea of this was building the brand, of course, the honey brand, the honeybee brand,
Yeah.
the busy bee brand.
Well-
Busy bee endorsement coming soon, we hope.
No, the idea kind of stemmed from one of my friends, like, hey, how come you don't live tweet, like, during the games like everybody else does? And I kind of told them, like, well, I prefer just to watch it. You know, like, I don't like to live tweet because I can't focus what's going on. And then they're like, well, you should just do something completely random where it's like, you know, like you just kind of have fun with it because that's who you are. I'm like, that's a good idea. So I'll do bee facts. And it kind of took off a little bit. I got a lot of positive feedback. A couple people were kind of weirded out, which, hey, that's story of my life right there. So it's all good. But now people want me to do this every single week. So people are throwing like suggestions what I can do next week.
I like it.
Yeah. So we'll see what's
some
up.
people are weirded out by the Jags, quite frankly.
As you should be.
Jaguars lose again. They're 1-3. They are who we thought they were. We have now given them 4 games to suggest they're otherwise.
Yep.
And they have a defense that just can't stop anybody, can't get home on the pass rush. As I said yesterday, crappy offensive line is better than the crappy defensive line. I mean, we know they were the 2 weaknesses. Might be the worst offensive line in football, might be the worst defensive line in football. And obviously the gap is pretty large after yesterday. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. That's just the way it is. I mean, they're not good. And we kind of knew that. We kind of figured they weren't as a whole. But trying to find it when you're not good is maybe fruitless, you know, and that's not going to happen. I don't know if there's a fix to it other than outscore people, and Jags can't do that right now either. It leaves you with mixed reviews or mixed feelings about everything. The offense, to me, if you really break it down, still you're looking at numbers that say 350. DJ Chark obviously looked the part. LaVisca Chenault, they got him involved a bit. He was fun again. James Robinson did his thing again. I still don't think the offensive line is an eyesore. I think Gardner Minshew, the eye test to me says there's something off a little bit the last couple of weeks, but the numbers say, hey, it's been pretty good. You know, I mean, that's certainly winnable football. If you're scoring 25 points in the NFL, and really could have been as much as 28 or even more if they make the one field goal. And so, you know, and make a play here or there, which we'll get into. I mean, everybody can say that. But it's winnable football on the offensive end, you know, and you're in catch-up mode the whole time. So it feels like almost the offense at times isn't playing well because if they don't score, our expectation is almost like straight out of the Big 12. If you don't go down and score, well, then you ain't keeping up. And so you have to be flawless, and that's just the way the team is. Now, I still don't think we've established an identity of this football team. Yeah, the offense is pretty good. It's the best offense we've seen around here in a long time, probably. Yeah. The defense is historically bad right now for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I was looking for going into this game, okay, offense, show us how good you are. Show us you're the identity of the team. You go out there and make them play catch-up. Well, an interception right away, and then a couple missed field goal. Don't go after it on 4th and 2.
Throw the coin toss in there, Brent. Throw that coin toss in there.
Won the coin toss, all that stuff.
There you go.
Well, listen, the bottom line is they won the coin toss, and it was a better start. So the first half, they were in the lead.
They threw an interception.
I know, but it was still a better start. So they threw a wrinkle in there.
There we go.
And that's they had
There's a sunshine and rainbows. Yeah. There's a sunshine and rainbows.
But you almost feel like they should have had a 20. If they're a good offense, like a real dynamic offense, a dictating kind of offense, if that's the identity of your football team, it would have been 20-10. And then you force maybe Joe Burrow into making a mistake or two. It never got to that point. Instead, other teams are getting to that point where the Jags' mistakes really add up on offense, even if it's just one or two, because now you're not keeping up with the other team's offense. So it's discouraging. I think we asked this question earlier in the year. What's worse, the 150-yard output offenses that we've seen under Blaine Gabbert earlier this decade, or a defense that just quite frankly can't stop anybody? And I still maintain the offenses that can't throw for 150 yards in this kind of day and age in the NFL was more devastating to watch. Although I admit it's very frustrating to watch a defense when you know if you're down a score late and you need a stop, you know you're not getting it. You just can't get it. You can't rely on them to do much.
So the day and age, like to me this year, 2020, and how the NFL is being operated right now, this is a new age in terms of offense and defense. Because in case you haven't noticed, pretty much every defense in the NFL sucks.
They're all bad.
They can't stop anybody. Offenses are scoring, putting up points with record-breaking, I guess, pace, let's just say. So every defense around the NFL seems like, they've taken steps back. Okay, but what's the difference between, the decent defenses, the defenses that win games, and the defense right now that Jacksonville Jaguars have? Couple of things, but number one, turnovers. Yeah. Okay? Turnovers, whether it's interceptions, whether it's quarterback sacks. The Jaguars right now are not creating turnovers. Sure, the offense is looking okay, right? They put up, I think, 430 yards against the Bengals. Pretty decent. But once again, Bengals put up 500 yards. So you can say what you want to say about that. But at the end of the day, it comes about creating the turnovers and getting that defense off the field. That bend but don't break mentality. Number two, and this is, I guess, where a lot of my frustration comes from, and this is why I don't tweet during the game, and I'm tweeting B-facts instead of what I see, because I don't want to say something I'm going to regret in terms of language and in terms of, making ESPN 690 look bad, but guys being out of position once again, okay? For instance, Chris Claybrooks. Chris Claybrooks essentially got thrown in the fire yesterday, right? I think what is he, a 6th-round pick, 7th-round pick out of Memphis? 7th-round pick out of Memphis, right? I don't think he was expecting to play yesterday. I was expecting him to play yesterday. I don't think anybody was, but guess what? He got thrown in the fire, so he had to play. And not on one, but two plays. Gap integrity. Maintain the outside. Now, I'm not expecting Chris Claybrooks to come in right away and have an all-pro performance. But I am expecting him to know, hey, if you have the D gap, if you have the outside, then you got the outside. So whether that's not getting through with coaching, whether that's just him being super naive, but those two plays, those are big. I think one was Giovanni Bernard went outside, and literally 3 or 4 plays later, the Bengals were like, all right, well, let's try this play again, see what happens. Mixon, touchdown, we'll see you later. Thanks for stopping by. Mixon had a big day. So to me, it's a combination. It's not creating the turnovers, number one, but number two, it's the fundamentals. And I understand this is the youngest team right now in the NFL, and I get that. But this team is also compiled of veterans who have done this for a very long time. And that's not translating to being in their gaps and doing their jobs as well. So if you have veterans that are in the wrong place sometimes at the wrong time, if you have rookies that are in the wrong place at the wrong time, that leads me to believe that whatever the goal of this defense is, whatever the overall thesis of the goals of stopping the run or whatever you're trying to do with this defense, it's not getting through to the players right now.
Yeah, and it is probably this combination that there's no simple answer, right? It's the defensive coordinator, it's the scheme, it's the new players, the young players, it's even some old players not making plays. I mean, DJ Hayden continues to take a slide here in 2020. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that's happening to number 25, and I loved him the last couple of years. I mean, I raved about him. I said they should make a Pro Bowl spot for the nickel corner because of DJ Hayden, and he's not playing that great. I could point to some veterans. The problem is your veterans better be really good and not make the mistakes in critical spots if your young guys are going to make some mistakes. You think of O'Shaughnessy with the huge hold play. This was on offense, of course. But even Tyler Eifert, I know it's not a drop. I know he got popped at the end of the play. But at the same time, those are the plays you got to make. If you're going to win, you got to make them. I mean, that's the difference, right? So you can't – you said it. The difference is turnovers because that's what they did in week 1. They got 2 opportunistic turnovers. And by the way, Miles Jack got one heck of a turnover yesterday.
Miles Jack had a day for himself yesterday.
And it was And it was an incredible play, and it was opportunistic, and it saved 7 points. So that was a huge play in the game. But they need like one or two more. I think you are exactly right. We talked about this last week, right? My thought on watching college football in the NFL was defense is gone. Mm-hmm. Defense is dead. It's almost impossible to play defense in football. It's really hard to play defense in football. I know the Indianapolis Colts look pretty good at it right now, but give them time. Don't worry. They'll give up a 30, 40. They'll give it up because it's too hard to play in the NFL and in football in general right now. But you do see these defenses coming up and making plays at important times or opportunistic times. And the Jaguars right now on the defensive end, we celebrate one play. We celebrate 3 and out, or not even a 3 and out, a punt. Like punts are celebrated right now in Jacksonville. They are. It's like, oh, baby, they got to stop. Maybe the Jags offense can either go catch up or get ahead by a score or two. That's where we're at with this defense. And I understand they reconstructed this thing. They ripped it down. But again, we asked this question in the summer. Have they gone 180? Did they go 180 on this thing? And Dave Caldwell went 180 when he first started this. He went super young. He got rid of Darryl Smith and guys like that, and it didn't work. It backfired. It was a regret of theirs. They should have kept more of those veteran guys. Okay, so they don't go as young, but they also got rid of everybody that made more than $8 million on this roster. So now you don't keep Calais, so you don't keep one other player that's a star player that would complement these guys so well. You leave yourself naked in the interior of your defensive line, essentially. And opt-outs had a little something to do with that, the Al Woods and obviously Rodney Gunter. In fairness, when they constructed the team, they thought they had some better replacements on the defensive line, and they got gutted by the situation, by the opt-outs, and by obviously Gunter's really unfortunate situation with his condition. So I guess it wasn't completely like, hey, we're just going to say we don't need any of these guys, and we're not even going to try to replace them. They got a little bit of bad luck in that part. But they have gone super young in the secondary. And really, you question how much talent is there after the C.J. Henderson and, well, DJ Hayden. And where else is there talent? Like, you really can wonder. You can really ask yourself, where else is there significant talent in that secondary until we learn more about these young guys?
But here's my issue with it. And I agree with you there. Absolutely. I mean, the secondary was depleted, right? You had to rely on some guys who don't have a lot of experience. You're not sure where their skill level's at right now. I understand that. But my issue is, like, with a guy like Chris Claybooks, why doesn't he know what he has to present the outside? Why doesn't he know he has to contain? Why doesn't he know that? Like, that's not a talent issue. That's an issue of knowing your assignment, of knowing your job. And it happened twice. It happened one time. You think, all right, it happens one time. You coach him up and say, all right, that can't happen again. And then you do the exact same thing over again. I'm not saying Chris Claybooks isn't talented. I don't know who Chris Claybooks even is. All I know is that he's a rookie defender right now who doesn't know how to fit in this defense. So to me, if he doesn't know his assignment, if he doesn't know he has to contain on the outside run plays, well, then that has to be, drilled in his head saying, hey, man, you have to have outside. You have to have outside. It's as simple as that. So I understand talent is one thing, but being in the right spot, playing your gap, having gap integrity, that doesn't take talent.
Yeah, if he missed the tackle on Mixon because he...
I would have been okay. It would have bounced inside. It would have bounced inside. You would have help coming back.
But when you just give him the free lane twice in a row to that outside, and there you go, it's a touchdown, that's problematic. So, yeah, are you getting enough of that coaching reinforcement, whatever? Are you smart enough to do that? Do you have the football IQ to do that? I mean, that's football, too. That's not NFL, college, high school. That's football. You've been doing that probably all your life. I mean, so you got to be focused and make those plays. Listen, there's a huge talent gap probably between C.J. Henderson and Claybrook, sorry. Yeah. But, you still have to know where you're going to be. And you kind of thought that they were getting those kind of guys that knew where they were fundamentally supposed to be on this defense to help secure the run. And that got a little bit blown up yesterday. That's one of the big problems with yesterday. It's not that they got beat by the Bengals. Joe Burrow throws for 300. Again, if every quarterback throws for 300 yards against the Jags, you're not surprising me. You would not surprise me. But I said that in July, man. I mean, that would not be a surprise. You're not supposed to run for 200 against this defense. And I know Miles Jack then went out of the game in the second half, and you got some guys hurt. But I don't care. You're not supposed to run for 200. And guess what Cincinnati did? They ran for 200 yards against this defense. That is what you spent the entire offseason trying to fix. And you did that by making yourself a little bit less dynamic, and maybe even a little less speed, yet they're still way out of place on these misdirection plays or just on generic run plays anyway. So it's a problem right now in Jacksonville, but it's not getting any better. I mean, I guess you can teach that up a little bit more, right? Maybe Clay Brooks doesn't make that mistake next week. Yeah, maybe he's learned from it.
Listen,
but still, there are a lot of issues that aren't going to get fixed here in 2020.
Brent, I would hope so. And listen, when you have one of the youngest or the youngest NFL roster in the NFL, don't talk to me about talent. Talk to me about coaching and make sure these guys are set up for success. Because when you have the youngest roster, a lot of these guys haven't been there before. All right, they don't know what the gruels of the NFL are like. They don't know. It's one thing to do a walkthrough in practice or a walkthrough in the hotel, but what happens when it's live rounds? What happens when you're actually in a game and it's going a million miles per hour? Are these guys ready to succeed? And yesterday I saw some guys that were not put up to succeed. Now, whether that falls on them or the coaching, you guys can be the judge of that. But I'm just saying, if you have the youngest roster in the NFL, you have to do a better job of coaching them up.
I agree with you, too, by the way, on the coaching front. We're going to get into that. But I said this on TV last night. I want to be consistent with my praise and criticism. And I praised the coaching staff for some of their adjustments and having them ready to go in the first 2 weeks. Well, the last 2 weeks, I think they deserve a lot of criticism for not being ready to go on a short week against Miami. Yeah. And they got outplayed. They got out-hustled. They got out everything. And then yesterday, they obviously got out. Look at the third quarter. 17-0 in the third quarter to the Bengals. Not to Tom Brady and the Bucs. Yeah. To the Bengals and Joe Burrow, rookie QB. And they got outworked, outcoached, out-everythinged yesterday in the third quarter. Those are adjustments. That is on coaching. It does go back to the players, of course. I think it's a players' league. But there's got to be some element of coaching in there.
And in terms of, you brought up, a few minutes ago about the identity, right? Every team's got to know what their identity is on offense and defense. I think offense, they have a pretty good idea of what they're good at and who they are. On defense right now, what's been the constant every single week, whether it's Todd Wash talking or his players talking, it's stopping the run, stopping the run, stopping the run. I'll make an argument and say they have regressed every single week in what they're supposed to be, okay? They come out every single week and say, we got to stop the run. We got to stop the run. Well, I'm reminded of the Miami game and I can't remember Myles Gaskin. I have no idea who's Myles Gaskin even is. I'll be honest with you. I don't know who Gaskin. Do you know where he came from? I don't know who that guy is. He got put on the map against the Jaguars. And then Mixon's kind of like a guy where it's like, Joe Mixon's kind of a guy like, well, he's kind of regressed a little bit this season. Just got the new contract. Can't really get going in the run game or the pass game. Well, get the highlight tape ready. If he makes a top 100 in NFL, you're going to see a lot of Jaguars cuts up there. Same story. So to me, I'm a little perturbed. I find it unsettling the fact that you are supposed to take pride in stopping the run. And these past couple weeks, every single week, you've regressed and got worse and got worse. That's not how an identity is supposed to work.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the identity will be the offense of this football team, and they haven't established themselves enough like that. But I think you're right. On the defensive side, you've told us your identity is to stop the run, and you didn't do it. I think that was demoralizing yesterday. Third quarter, if Joe Burrow had come out and just started slinging it, again, I'm like, well, there's going to be a little bit of that, especially when he's got 4 seconds to sit back there and throw it. Yeah. I mean, everybody comes out of that game like, Joe Burrow, man, he's really good. He's really good. Listen, every QB against the Jags looks good. They can't get to him. No offense. Listen, Joe Burrow might be the greatest thing ever. Mm-hmm. He does look pretty good early in his career. But I'm not giving – listen, a lot of quarterbacks sit back in that pocket and throw the ball around the yard. Yeah. That's what happens. So the fact that they ran all over him on those 2 drives is very disheartening. And it's kind of like, okay, you said it. You were going to do that. If you can't do that, we already know you can't defend the pass because you can't rush the QB. That was an exclamation point yesterday. They can't rush the passer with 4. Yeah. Worst offensive line in the NFL. Yeah. They beat them. Yeah. And so if you can't stop the run, well, now we're in for a long season.
And listen, shout out to the Bengals fans because they're out in full force. I did my 3 takeaways video, and I even commented of how I thought the Bengals offensive line was trash going into this game. And then I had Bengals fans come out and say, you don't even know what you're watching. The Bengals are actually a pretty respectable team. Yada, yada, yada. All I know is that if you give up 8 sacks against the Eagles, you're not a good offensive line.
Yeah, and about Simple 14 more hits.
Simple as that. So don't tell me you're a good offensive line. And I said it, and you actually called it. You want to see more blitzing this week, and I said, let's just calm down a little bit. Let's see what this defensive line can do with 4 because this offensive line is a liability. And I think Todd Wash took my side a little more than your side, and much to the regret of the Jacksonville Jaguars because they couldn't get home. They couldn't get home against a pretty mediocre, a pretty bland offensive line. And that's the frustrating part about this whole thing, too, is that this was the chance. This was the breakout game. Like, offensive lines, hate to tell you, they get harder from here. It's not going to get easier all of a sudden, right? You had a rookie quarterback, and you had a very mediocre offensive line just ripe for the picking. And you get home, once? And that was kind of on a, with all due respect to Josh Allen, kind of a fluke in terms of, a sack's a sack. Congratulations, got a sack, dude.
No.
I'm just saying.
It shouldn't be counted as a sack.
But at the end of the season, man, it's going to say he had that, so it is what it is there. But my point is, this was your opportunity. This was the audition for the defensive line to get home. And unfortunately, they didn't get home.
Yeah,
they failed.
And my point last week in saying that was, we already know. Why wait? Why wait? We know Cincinnati's not going to be the barometer if you can get home. They're one of the worst anyway. You're not going to get home every week, that's for sure. So go give it to the rookie quarterback. And they'll say they blitzed on first and second down. When the Jags blitz, I don't notice they're blitzing. Why do I notice when other people are blitzing?
Because they get home.
And Doug Marrone, you'll hear from Doug Marrone. He explains it. Like, I get the explanation. I understand it's not as easy. I always preface this with, when the offense isn't going well, you go to the 2-minute drill. When the defense isn't going well, you blitz. That's what we say. I get it. It's more complicated than that. You've seen it. You've done it. It's more complicated than that. But I still see at least once, twice, 3 times, 5 times a game when I watch the NFL, somebody's coming without getting blocked because you outnumber the offensive line on a blitz. Why haven't we seen that this year? Not once. So is it the right blitz? Are we bad at blitzing? Are we calling them enough? I think those are fair questions until I see somebody just nail the quarterback that didn't get blocked because you fooled them or outnumbered them. And I'm still waiting for that part. Okay, what about the offensive side? Let's talk about it when we come back. Gardner Minshew to me is very interesting. The numbers look good. Is he playing as good as the numbers look these last couple of weeks? And really, the numbers weren't great last week, but yesterday, the numbers, man, everybody's going to buy the numbers. 350, 2 touchdowns. Really a nice play on the interception, although I still kind of thought he forced it in there, but it was a nice play when they showed the replay and described the play. Or are we just demanding too much from Minshew because we know the defense is too bad? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little mixed on Minshew, and I'm a believer in Minshew, but I'm confused a little on Minshew the last couple of weeks, even yesterday, at how to come out and feel about him. And so I need a little help. Maybe
I got you, man. I got you.
Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. You're always welcome to join the conversation. 904-362-9901, star 690 as well. It's a Monday, and it's not a Minshew Monday. It's another one of those miserable Mondays. We'll try to keep up the energy anyway. Till 6 o'clock on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jacks with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Keep the umbrella handy this week. We'll see a few scattered showers today, otherwise partly to mostly cloudy in the 70s and only dropping to near 70 tonight, and it'll be muggy. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30 Action News Jax. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burridge.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's BOGO Wedding Band Sale October 10th through the 24th.
Internal Revenue Service. When you owe a personal or business tax debt and can't pay, just hearing those 3 words brings feelings of fear and anxiety. I'm Jonathan David Suryash, Managing Tax Attorney at J. David Tax Law. Everyone knows that if you owe the IRS and don't pay, it's only a matter of time before tax liens, wage garnishments, or bank levies happen to you. The first step to resolution is our no-cost consultation. We take the time to go through your specific tax problem step by step. We explain exactly what your options are and how we will resolve your tax issue. J. David Tax Law is a local firm right here in Jacksonville, where only an experienced tax attorney will represent you. Our fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. If you have tax problems, call us now for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777, or find us on the web at jdavidtaxlaw.com. That's jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Hey, boss, don't you just love this time of year?
No.
Come on, the weather's changing, football season's here.
I don't like anything in 2020, okay?
Fair enough, but Halloween will be here before you know it.
True. That's always a good night for us crooks. Nobody gives a second look to our disguises.
Yup, all we gotta do is make sure we pick houses without Safe Touch security and we're golden.
Just mentioning Safe Touch security puts me in a foul mood.
And no, all those houses off limits to us crooks because of Safe Touch.
Yeah, they got their 45-second response time, the two-way communicator.
No freedom-loving crook messes with a Safe Touch house.
Exactly. It's why we stick to the Crooks Are Us motto, stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Hey, now there's one thing that's not upside down this year.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number LVA 4188.
For the ones working tirelessly to keep their coworkers safe. For the ones rising to new challenges. For the ones rebuilding stronger than before. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, safety recovery guides, and 24/7 support. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and school just isn't for you, earn while you learn by enrolling in the Clara White Mission Workforce Training, designed for 16 to 24-year-olds and no experience necessary. National certifications include culinary arts, OSHA, HAZWOPER, forklifting, environmental training, and more. These programs are customized for low income and disadvantaged. Make your way to the Clara White Mission Training Center at 613 West Ashley Street. Call 904-354-4162 or visit clarawhitemission.org.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
This is Tom Scared for the Borgen Project. Each year, nearly 2 million children die from preventable diseases. Each day, 30,000 people die from hunger. 500 each hour are children. The Borgen Project is turning this around. We need your help. To learn more, go to borgenproject.org. That's BORGEN project.org.
It is the home of the Action Sports Jack's Dream 18, and make it your home course as well. The Golf Club at Southampton in North St. Johns County, located off County Road 210. It's family owned and operated. Southampton is a fun course to play, and the Golf Club at Southampton offers club membership programs starting at just $79. With its elite practice facilities and player-friendly golf course design, it'll be your gateway to a great time with the family or with your buddies. For information on the membership programs, call the Golf Club at Southampton, 904-287-PLAY. Again, it's 904-287-PLAY.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our Best Wellness program, and welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
The First Coast is booming. With interest rates at historic lows, there has never been a better time to call Brandon Ponsel and his network of local experts at Jack's Coastal Homes. You can visit them at jackscoastalhomes.com or call them today at 904-206-9480 and mention ESPN 690 to receive up to $2,500 towards your closing cost. Need to sell? Powered by the unparalleled technology of EXP, Brandon will guarantee the sale of your home in under 60 days, or he'll sell it for free. The First Coast market is on the move. Are you?
Transmission problems? Call Action Transmission Specialists on Merrill Road, where you get the work done right the first time by the experts. I'm Robin Sidbury, the owner. Our techs can service all makes and models, and we provide a nationwide warranty, so you have the peace of mind knowing we solve your transmission troubles fairly and honestly and guaranteed nationwide. Call us at Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road, where quality counts. Get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Alexa, how do I drive more customers into my business?
First, people will need to hear about you. Then you need to be online where they look for you. Then you need
I don't have time for that. I need to run my business.
Okay, searching for a local team that can help.
Local Solutions. Visit JacksonvilleLocalSolutions.com today.
Nearly 250,000 men and women in the U.S. will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year.
Breast cancer is unacceptable.
Visit Komen.org/unacceptable.
ESPN 690 SportsCenter Update.
Happy Monday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Yesterday in the NFL, the Jags struggled to find a pass rush again as they fell to 1-3, losing to the until yesterday winless Cincinnati Bengals 25-33. Undrafted rookie running back James Robinson continued to impress, and Gardner Minshew threw for 351 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 pick, but it still wasn't enough. Here's Jags QB1 Gardner Minshew, who's looking for answers.
It's one of those things that, we set out every drive to go score 7 points. We fall short sometimes, we get it sometimes. No matter what, I think we just got to take it one play at a time, one drive at a time mentality, and that's our best recipe for success.
And in NBA Finals news, Jimmy Butler's huge night pushed the Heat past the LA Lakers, which now lead the series 2-1. If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Goose from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Now, I know there's a ton of ways you can listen to the show, but did you know one of the ways is through a smart speaker? Yes, the Google Home, the Amazon Alexa. It's pretty easy to do. Just tell either of them to play ESPN 690. Try it out weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m., and you can listen to Action Sports Jacks.
Brent Martineau.
They probably already have one. Cornholing.
Austin Lane.
You're going to have a call from PR in a little bit here.
Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690.
It's not a lot of errors, for say, like in the past where you're like, holy cow, this, something's bad. But it just seems like, when it's time for us to make plays, and there have been times where they've made plays, but to make it consistently, that's what we're striving for.
That is Doug Marrone here on a Monday. I was just trying to tell you this about Doug Marrone. He's very measured right now and not panicking, and I think keeping his cool. I think I give him credit for that. In the building, you got to stay that way, especially, you got to stay consistent. You don't want to go peaks and valleys, especially with a young team. So I'm trying to look at it from his point of view. That at the same time, I said in our postgame show yesterday, I'm like, he got mad because someone was walking through the door and he was trying to answer a question. Yeah. And so he was kind of ticked off about it. I was like, I almost feel like I wish he was a little more ticked off in the front part of the press conference about playing so bad and losing 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. So, I think we do that a lot, especially on Sundays. I wish you were as mad as I am about watching this crap.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But then you think about it, and you're like, listen, in his position, he's got a young football team. I guess I see it. I think he's probably handling it the right way. The only thing I say to that is, Austin, this is how it's not acceptable to lose. I'm not saying they're accepting that. That's like calling a football player soft to say somebody's accepting losing.
No one's accepting losing.
I think they just know what they are. I think they know who they are. I don't think Doug Marrone is surprised to see them giving up 30 a game right now. I don't think he fully blames Todd Wash for that. Mm-hmm. I think he knows that they have some deficiencies to start the year. I think they knew they were going to go through some of this mud right now. I think once they start getting people hurt, they knew the depth of their team was going to be super challenged. And so, like it or not, I just think when he went through this season and when he went through the plans of this season, he said, listen, we're going to struggle a little bit. You know who you are. You've seen good before. Mm-hmm. He was around in 17. Mm-hmm. It's a far departure on that side of the ball from 17. And that happens too in the NFL. But I get the sense that Doug's like, hey, how can we get them better in the next month than we were in the first month, in November than we were in September and October, in December than we were the first 3 months. That's his motivation right now, knowing that, hey, we knew we were going to take some lumps, but let's try to play better football as we go along, and then maybe our offense and defense will start complementing each other. I think he's trying to show patience. I don't know if I should be hammering for him for that approach, or if I should be applauding him for knowing at least who he is and his patience that he's at least having right now with this football team.
See, this is the problem. You actually brought this up during the break. I mean, you said it sounds like a college program, the way he's going after. But
it really does.
But here's the problem with that, though, Brett, and I agree with you. I mean, it absolutely does sound like a college program that you're running. But this isn't college football. This is the NFL, where you have to win right away, no excuses, right? In college, sometimes we give coach a longer leash because, you know what? He's got to bring his own guys in. He's got to turn things around a little bit. Yeah. The last coach made it a mess, and now he's got to clean things up a little bit. You don't have that excuse in the NFL, all right? You have to go out there and win because everything is supposed to be so competitive, right? Like every single week in the NFL, each team should be able to win. You know, sometimes you have the Chiefs, things like that, but usually that's the way the NFL is set up to play out. And right now, the Jaguars can't do that. So I understand what you're trying to say. Well, do we give them a little more credit? Do we give them a little more leeway to say, you know what, let's just coach these guys up a little bit and see what happens? You can't do that, man. This is the NFL. It's the most cutthroat business there is. And I think a lot more frustration also stems from the fact, let's not forget about the sound bites that we heard during training camp. They essentially cut the guys that they didn't want on their team, right? And Doug Marrone came out and said, we like our guys. You know, we can be successful with these guys. And you know what? Week one, I bought in wholeheartedly. I'm like, maybe Doug Marrone knows something I don't know, right? It was like they know a secret, and we weren't let in on it. I'm like, yeah. James Robinson, okay, James Robinson.
By the end of week one, we all like that team.
Yeah, exactly. But then after that, and in Tennessee, I think we kind of like that team too a little bit, even though they lost. But these past 2 weeks,
don't like the team
anymore, right? And even when Dave Caldwell came out and said, you know what, let's just wait and see what happens here. Like Dave Caldwell knew it was something that we didn't. Let's just wait and see how this plays out.
We played it on TV last night. Yeah. Caldwell said, listen, you guys, all this tanking stuff, he's like, can you at least let us play?
Yeah.
And I love this team was his quote. I love this team. Mm-hmm. Well, again, we let them play 4 games now. They're 1-3, and nothing is different on the defensive side other than two opportunistic plays, and you could maybe blame Rivers, but I'm going to give credit to the defense. They made a couple of plays. Outside of that, it's looked really the same and unfixable right now.
And weren't they compared to the Saints team that was really successful when Doug was there?
06. He was talking about that team. He's like, a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So, listen, there's still a long way to go. But the road doesn't get easier. Although the next month, if you look at the records of the teams they're playing, if you're any good, it certainly isn't hard. I mean, you're talking winless Houston twice. The Chargers are 1-3, and Detroit's 1-3. We just kind of see this thing, and it doesn't look right. A couple of quick thoughts. I want to get to Gardner Minshew, okay? This segment's really about Gardner Minshew because I'm a little confused on Gardner Minshew. I need some help.
I got you.
But I want to bring this up now because I know I'll forget. And this has been my test of the Jags. And again, I'm just trying to be consistent with this as we go along, whether it's good, bad, indifferent. And Doug Marrone told us that this is what we thought we knew about the team. This is what we were kind of told about this football team, that, hey, this is what it's going to be. Doug wanted to be a cleaner football team and a more disciplined football team. First couple of weeks, I think that was evident, right? Yeah, might have made a mistake or two against Tennessee, and it cost them. But overall, it wasn't like 12 penalties and all this stuff. Well, now you revisit those, and there's interception early in the game. There's 40-yard run holding penalty. You know, there's some critical defensive penalties. Mm-hmm. There are big penalties. There might not be 15 penalties or even 12, but there are some critical penalties. So from a discipline and clean football standpoint, these last couple of weeks, they're not delivering on what they thought they could be. They said stop the run for the first 3 weeks. Essentially, they did. This week, no, you're not delivering on who you told us you would at least be. The known commodity of this team would be to stop the run. 200 yards. That's why you redid this thing, because you gave up 200 yards like 5 times last year. Mm-hmm. Resilient. They looked resilient. Week 1, didn't fold the tent. Week 2, didn't fold the tent. This was a big one for me for the resilience.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's not like they got beat 40-10, but now it's 2 weeks in a row. It's looking like a team that, I don't know, they're finding the resiliency, or are they still resilient? You know, sure, they didn't give up. They still had a kind of a little chance in the last couple minutes of the game. But I don't know if that resilience to me was as clear the last 2 weeks, because that Thursday night game was a debacle all around and it never showed up. Mm-hmm. And then this one as well, even with 8 days off in between games or 9 days off in between games. And then the other thing I will say, I think Marrone preached to us, said the offensive line is better. And I do think he's right. Even with Shatley gone, and even with Cam Robinson, they've been able to run the ball. Minshew's had time. So surprisingly now, I think Minshew's up to like 13 sacks. Mm-hmm. So that surprised me because it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like he's been swallowed up. I feel like he's had time. Sure, there's been times that people have got to him. But I think Doug's been right about the offensive line. I think the offensive line, they liked it better than we all liked it. And I think he's been right about that. So I put this down because I want to go back to it almost each week and said, hey, you thought you'd be this. Well, the last 2 weeks to me outside of the offensive line, they're really not who they thought they would be. Instead, they're who everybody else thought they would be.
No, without a doubt. And that's obviously the most frustrating part of it. And also another fact is, listen, we'll see how Tennessee and Indianapolis finish the season out, right? I think obviously one of them are going to win the division because Houston's probably not going to win it. And Tennessee's still undefeated, but we'll see how they work with COVID-19 and things like that. But when they got beat by Tennessee, what was the narrative? It was like, man, just, a couple plays here or there, and the Jaguars probably would have won that game. We always go back to that squib kick, but it was more than that one play. But it wasn't like we're talking about, well, the Jaguars got outmanned and outgunned. They got pounded. No, like the Jaguars held their own.
They looked like an NFL team.
Exactly. And then the Miami game, it wasn't like Miami came out with this new designed offense tailor-made to beat the Jaguars. It wasn't like Ryan Fitzpatrick was this all-world kind of guy. It was just breakdowns in the secondary. It was breakdowns in fundamentals. And then this past game with the Bengals, it's the same thing. Like, I haven't left any of these games thinking, man, in terms of talent, Jaguars are outnumbered big time. That's not how I feel about these losses. How I feel about these losses right now, it's you guys just aren't playing proper football. You guys are shooting yourselves in the foot. The Bengals didn't beat, and once again, maybe I have teal-colored glasses on. Maybe I'll get a lot of shout-outs from Bengals fans. But to me, the Bengals didn't beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars, for the most part, beat the Jaguars in terms of mistakes.
I agree with that.
Mental errors and things like that.
Burrow didn't even do anything spectacular. He just kind of got what they gave him.
So I have yet to watch one game this season that the Jaguars have played where I sit back and say, well, they just got outmanned. They just got outplayed. I mean, what do you want to do? Now, maybe Houston will have something to say about that this week, but 4 games in the season, I haven't said that yet.
Yeah, that's a fair point. All right, so I want to get to Gardner Minshew. We'll talk so much more about all the defense, and I want to get into the coaching aspect a little bit later on, too, because there were some questionable things about coaching, and I do think Todd Wash's name comes up because more so from a spark standpoint than anything else, but we'll get to it. Gardner Minshew. I'm a believer in Gardner. I think, man, look, if you look at the numbers, right, and the numbers are silly in the NFL right now, but he's keeping up. This is the best quarterback play we have seen around here in a long, long time. I mean, we have got to acknowledge that. This is the best quarterback play that we have seen in Jacksonville in a very, very long time. And he should get a tip of the cap for that. He is doing some things that people would sign up for, like 72% completion percentage. I mean, that's incredibly good. I'm going to tell you exactly where it fits. It is 6th in the NFL behind Russell Wilson, Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater, Phillip Rivers, Jared Goff. It's better than Drew Brees and Lamar Jackson and Dak Prescott and those guys. His quarterback rating is pretty good. It's over 100. I mean, very good. It's over 100. All the typical quarterbacks are over 100, including Josh Allen, who's having a really nice year. The touchdown interceptions for Gardner, 8 and 4, respectable. Made a couple bad throws, but respectable. He's getting sacked the second most in the NFL, third most behind Burrow and Watson. So, again, it doesn't feel like that.
Does not feel like that.
Doesn't feel like that. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards. The 2-minute stuff was good. He got in a great rhythm there after the interception. He bounced back. He showed some resilience. But when it mattered in the third quarter, they had 2 3-and-outs after the holding penalty against the James Robinson run. And I felt like it was an important time for the quarterback to answer. I felt like it was an important time for the quarterback to make something happen. I felt like it was an important time for the Jags offense to respond. And what I remember saying during those 2 3-and-outs after the penalty was, I don't know, man. Minshew, I think I tweeted, Minshew looks a little rattled right here on a play or two. Also, there was a time where they showed the wide view and the receivers were just not open. Like, everybody was covered up. But the play I go back to is that first down play on the second 3-and-out, O'Shaughnessy going over the middle, and he threw a bad ball. Now, listen, everybody throws a bad pass here or there, but that was a big moment. That was a moment where if you pick up 6-7 yards on first down, you know what you do next? You hand it to James Robinson, who's really doing a heck of a job. Instead, you go 2nd and 10. Now that's when they showed the high-level view of everybody covered, had to throw the ball away, and on third down had to throw it away again because I think they got a little bit of pressure. So, bam, 2 series, holding really derailed it on the first series, and then the first down pass that would have just been a 6 or 7 yard simple play, which he's been very good at because he's an accurate thrower. He doesn't make the play. So at that critical time, I was like, man, he looks antsy again. Looks like he did kind of in that Miami game. Looks like he's rushing or pressing or just, I don't know, everything he said that he wouldn't do in terms of just let the game come to him, it doesn't look like he's doing. And then in the 2-minute after the end of the game, he piles up some numbers, looks good. Where should I be on Gardner Minshew? Because I'm confused. Again, I am watching some of the best quarterback play I've seen since I have been in Jacksonville from this guy. Yet, I still, my eyes and the feel of it at times say, I'm not in love with it.
Yeah.
Am I being too picky?
No, I mean, let's just call it like we see it right now. Week 1 in Indianapolis, we came in here, we were celebrating Minshew Mondays, rocking jean shorts, headband. Minshew's the guy.
I bought more headbands, and I haven't been able to wear it since.
So week 1, Minshew was the guy. Week 2, I think Minshew was the guy. Week 3, you got to play better, man. All right, that was a one-off. And now
he did not play well on Thursday night.
Correct.
I'm not going to say that about yesterday. I don't think it was like he did not play well.
Sure. But now we sit here on a Monday, 27 for 40, 67.5% completion percentage, 351 yards, 2 touchdowns and interception. Whatever that QB rating is, probably not that bad. And if you didn't watch that game and you saw the box score, you would see those numbers and be like, solid day. Solid, he probably had a mistake. I didn't see the throw, but he had a mistake, interception, but probably a pretty solid day for Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm here to tell you right now, that doesn't matter. Those stats, throwing 2 touchdowns, throwing for over 300 yards, that does not matter. And here's why. Who else is tied to wins and losses more than a quarterback, a GM, and a head coach? Absolutely nobody. Like, in the hierarchy of who's responsible for wins and losses, it's 1A, 1B, and 1C. Quarterback, GM, and obviously the head coach, right? This season, to me, it was never about winning a division, all right? No matter what I saw week 1 against the Colts, it was never about winning a division to me. It was about finding out if Minshew is indeed the guy going forward or not. And the way I saw this season playing out was, listen, we're going to have a really good idea of what Minshew can bring to the table. You brought in Jay Gruden, very offensive-minded, quarterback-friendly coach. You brought in Ben McAdoo, right? And you drafted Laviska Shenault, and they say James Robinson was supposed to be good, and so far he is. So all the pieces were there for a proper addition to see if Minshew's going to be the man. The problem started to happen, though, is when the defense couldn't have his back at all. And the defense started making it really impossible to evaluate this quarterback position. So I'm here to tell you, I don't care how many yards the guy throws for. I don't care how many touchdowns he throws for, and I don't care what his QB rating is. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm saying this is the way it is. If he doesn't win games and the Jaguars are going to be picking, anywhere from 3 to 7 to 8 to maybe 10, well, if Trey Lance is going to be there, if Fields is going to be there, or somehow they can get Trevor Lawrence, if he's going to be there, they're going to have to go with the quarterback. And once again, I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying you got to win ball games, and that's just the way the NFL works.
What about Dak Prescott then?
What do you mean?
How's he doing?
Doesn't matter, right? Because he's built enough equity already. Dak Prescott has established himself as being the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys for years and years to come. The paychecks are going to say it. The teammates say it. Everyone says Dak Prescott's going to be the real deal. Look at Dak Prescott's numbers. Obviously, he's putting up big numbers, not winning a lot of games. But he has the seasons under his belt. Minshew doesn't have that. And once again, I see what you're trying to say, Brent. And I agree with you.
I'm not even arguing against that, but that's a good answer to that. He's got the equity built up.
Yeah, he's got the equity built up.
Because he did get down 41-10 before he started to play, apparently.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And the Cowboys right now.
And they're way better on offense on paper.
True. But the Cowboys, they're in shambles as well. I wouldn't believe. At least the Jaguars, expectations were kind of set out. Everyone's talking about, Mike McCarthy, the analytics he's bringing. The Cowboys are a dumpster fire. But with that being said, we know who Dak Prescott is. And unfortunately, once again, Minshew, we're not quite sure yet. And if it gets to the end of the season, Brent, and he doesn't win a lot of games, what are you going to say? I mean, you got to go in a different direction.
I've been so defensive of the quarterbacks around here to give them a chance and give them a shot and give them time, from Bortles to Gabbert over the years to whoever. And I'm a believer in Minshew, and yet I'm trying to make sure I'm critical with the eye that didn't work for those other guys. And you're sitting there and saying, well, now you might be in the mix for a top 10 pick if the season keeps playing out this way. And so I get what you're saying, although I see a lot of good things from Gardner. And I'm just telling you, I'm really, like, if I'm sitting there talking to the folks in Brandon, Mississippi right now, absolutely love Gardner Minshew, and they're telling me, Brent, what are you talking about? You see that throw? You see that play? You see this play? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're right. But by the way, I would also say, hey, if Eifert hangs on to that football, that was a beautiful throw. What else more could he do? If James Robinson doesn't get that run back, I mean, they might seriously have scored, let's just give them 10 more points on a field goal and a touchdown, because they were on the doorstep on the Eifert play. That's 10 more points. I mean, maybe they're scoring 35. So it's really, I feel like we're being maybe a little overly critical right now of Minshew. There's a part of me, but when I look at it and I want my quarterback to elevate and take this team to somewhere it hasn't been and be the identity of this offense, I scratch my head at a couple of those possessions in the third quarter. And by the way, the slow start, because the slow start was something that you didn't want to happen. You took the coin toss, and I know we joke about it, but you took the coin toss to get down there and establish the identity, the lead, make them play chase mode, and instead gave it over to them on the plus side of the field. And fortunately, that was one time where the defense actually stepped up and did a job for first time all year, really, that it did something. So I'm just being honest with you. I am mixed on Minshew right now. I'm trying not to get swallowed up in the numbers of Minshew. And I understand wins come to a part of it, but I also would say for Minshew, it's like the defense isn't even giving him a chance. Like, he can't make a mistake.
Listen, I'm not saying it's fair, man. I'm not saying it's fair. It sucks, because right now, Minshew, and I think his future is going to be whether he's a product of an environment or not. Like, you brought up Dak Prescott. You know why Dak Prescott is still the Cowboys quarterback, and you know why he's about to make a lot of money? Do you know why? Because he got drafted into a great situation. He got drafted into a situation where he had a great offensive line, a great running back, and a great defense to have his back. Minshew doesn't have that defense right now.
No.
Right? So once again, I understand if he puts up big numbers, and I'm on Team Minshew, man. I want to see, you know how I feel. I want to see him be successful. What sucks about it, though, and with everything I know about the NFL, is if he doesn't win football games, if the defense continues not to have his back, it doesn't matter what you do, man. And once again, not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. We just got to say that's the way it is, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, you're probably right. But I just don't know if I fully believe that. When you're putting some of the numbers he's putting up and the measurables, and if it looks good on tape to some of them as well, I'm not going to write that off. If they go 4-12, I don't think that automatically says that he can't be the guy. If he keeps putting these numbers up and the defense gives up 38 a game, I mean, what are you supposed to do?
Okay, I mean,
Oklahoma's won Heisman trophies.
No,
the quarterbacks have won Heisman trophies with their defense giving up 40 a game.
Sure.
Of course, they won a lot of those games too.
So let's play those exercises real quick. Let's say the Jaguars, realistically, with this schedule right now, what do you see them winning, Brent? 4 games, 5 games? Not even.
I'm starting to dip
3 or
down
4.
To 3 or 4.
Okay, so that's going to put them realistically pick 4, pick 5, pick 6.
In this year, I would say between 4 and 7. Yeah.
Okay, 4 and 7. So you mean to tell me right now, if you win 2, 3, maybe 4 games if you're lucky, and you're drafting, like you said, maybe draft 5, 6, pick number 6, whatever. And you mean to tell me if there's a quarterback there, the Jaguars are going to pass up on that quarterback and take something else?
No, because I was thinking of this the other day. I said they'll go with, hey, Minshew, beat him out if you can, or we got one hell of a backup. I mean,
yeah.
But see, I feel like I said that to myself today. Is Minshew a backup in the NFL? No, he's really not. Like, he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. The question we're asking around here, is he the franchise quarterback? Is he the Joe Burrow? Yeah. Is he the Patrick Mahomes? Is the Watson? And I guess in my own mind, it's like, can we have baby steps here? We haven't even had a freaking quarterback.
No, I hear you, man.
I mean, now you got a quarterback. Like a guy that's a legit starter in the NFL. I think Minshew is that.
No, listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, man. And, like, listen, when the season started, I was the biggest advocate to keep Minshew and see what he's got, and I'm still doing that right now. But my point is, when the season started, I thought Minshew would be writing his own story right now. he's trying to write his own story, but the defense keeps on ripping up pages.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get a full evaluation
Well, and
of
he's
it.
made some of his own mistakes. I think he has to clean some of it up. I do think he has some spots that he could clean up and make it at least the eye test look even better. Steven, hang on the line. If you want to jump in on Minshew, 904-362-9901. It's an interesting one. It tugs at you a little bit because there's evidence on both sides. How do you feel about Gardner Minshew? More on the Jags coming up. More on week 4 of the NFL, plus a little college football talk because really interesting weekend. I thought it was in college football. It's on the way. ESPN 690.
Attention all Camry buyers. If you've been wanting a new Camry, then I've got great news for you because today's the day to get your Camry and save big at Arlington Toyota. It's the Today's the Day sales event going on now at Arlington. And they've made a special purchase of 2020 Camrys. That means they've got 132 new 2020 Camrys in stock and ready to sell. But with a deal like this, you got to get yours before they're all gone. Make today the day you save big at Arlington and buy a new 2020 Camry at 0% for 60 months plus no payments for 90 days. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Want a new Camry? Then today's the day, but they're going fast, so don't wait. Shop safely in person. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/today's the day for full details.
Hey, boss, guess who I saw at the grocery store today?
I don't know. Elvis?
No, I saw your mom.
Ah, she doing good today?
Yeah, she's great. Said to say hello. Oh, and to thank you again for the Safe Touch security system you got her.
Ah, Safe Touch. The source of all my internal conflict.
Huh?
See, on one hand, as a cook, I hate Safe Touch security. But as a son, I love Safe Touch because they help protect my ma.
Yeah, she loves having the medical and panic buttons. Oh, and the two-way communicator's been great. She says Safe Touch makes her feel safe.
And so my personal tug-of-war continues. I hate Safe Touch. I love Safe Touch.
Well, love 'em or hate 'em, we still gotta stick to the Crooks or Us motto. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah. Unless it's Mom's house.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater dies? Also, it sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Donato's Pizza is proud to support the Florida State Seminoles. When it comes to pizza for game time, we can suit any taste. From 100 pepperonis on a large loaded edge-to-edge on smoked provolone and Romano, to our delicious and healthy cauliflower crust tomato bruschetta with plant-based sausage, to mariachi chicken, to the founder's favorite, and more. We offer a convenient pickup window or prompt delivery. Just give Donato's a try. That's all we ask. Order at 904donatos.com or call 904-DONATOS on your phone.
There's a new modern patient-centered orthopedic practice in Jacksonville.
We believe that the patient pays money for a doctor and should be seen by a doctor.
Ortho Edge. They're getting the most technologically available medicine there is. Ortho Edge.
You're going to get a much better experience with your physician. We all see our patients.
Get the answers right away and more focused care on patients.
Find out more about us at orthoedge.com.
Ortho Edge. We're in the DePaul building attached to St. Medical Center, Riverside.
ESPN 690 wants you to shop the 904. And by doing that, you keep most of the money and jobs right here on the First Coast. Plus, local businesses give our community its uniqueness and character that makes living on the First Coast so great.
Shop the 904.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. When seconds count, call 911. The hospital is the safest place to be. Visit heart.org/don't die of doubt. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, locally supported by
Mayo Clinic.
For the ones working tirelessly to keep their coworkers safe. For the ones rising to new challenges. For the ones rebuilding stronger than before. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, safety recovery guides, and 24/7 support. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Join ESPN 690 in Shopping the 904. When you help businesses here on the First Coast, you're really helping all of us. And it keeps our local economy going. That means jobs. 2020 has been a really tough year, especially for locally owned businesses. And you can make a difference when you shop local. So if you live in St. John's, Duval, Baker, Clay, Nassau, or other surrounding counties, shop local. Shop the 904.
Shop the 904.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and to watch your favorite teams at the start of football season, then make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474 and demand they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
No matter what you're driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of Fields Auto Group's dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group stores in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station.
Hey everyone, this is Brett Martino from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Hope you catch the show Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10 different platforms. But if you missed the show, you missed this.
The Jags have 2 opt-outs. How big are these losses in your opinion?
Lorente McCray is different to me. This is a guy who's going on his 7th season here in the NFL. If you have the honor to wear the C in that locker room, it means that you're a leader. You have some sort of influence on that team.
Subscribe to the podcast and check the show out on Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Get the podcast daily. All you have to do is search ESPN 690 in your podcast app.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
We started the first half pretty bad, started the second half pretty bad. So we're going to have to go back, look at it, see what we're doing wrong, and just make sure we're getting in, the right mindset each time we step out there.
Gardner Minshew, 351-yard day for the Jacksonville Jaguars. 2 touchdowns. I'm still finishing up a little bit of an experiment because I wanted to wait and see until he had 16 starts under his belt. So I'm going to do the 16 starts that Gardner Minshew has. And, he's got a little overflow of other games in there. But he's basically had a full season under his belt.
Yeah.
And so the record now is sliding. See, the 3 losses, what you brought up, 3 losses is a big thing. But overall, the numbers are, in some areas, just unbelievable. Like, excellent. Again, Justin Herbert has those numbers. You're loving it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
Any young quarterback has those numbers. You're not asking the questions we're asking. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we're in right now is this, what does it look like, feel like, and statistically look like?
Yeah.
There's 3 different categories, in my opinion, in that sense. And the conversation continues and the audition continues. This is just a month in. The one thing about this season for the Jacksonville Jaguars is it is about Gardner Minshew. I know the defense stinks. I understand the team might not be good and doesn't look good and probably won't win a ton of games. And that's bad, too, and add to the list of seasons that have looked like that and maybe another top 10 pick. But I do think if you have the long view of this year, what you're really trying to find out is number 15. Mm-hmm. And the season is really all about number 15 on a lot of different levels. Mm-hmm. And then what do you do, right? Because the way we're looking at things, you could have a new GM, a new coach, you could have a new quarterback, you could have a new everything in 2021. So it just depends what perspective you want to put it in, and not usually Monday after a loss is that perspective of this long, broad view. But I think Minshew continues to be a topic on a daily basis, and he should be. How is he playing is a constant question. How is he doing is a grade that needs to be given every single game, every single week. Steven's on the line, wants to talk a little bit about Gardner Minshew. Let's get him in. Action Sports Shacks on ESPN 690. Hope you had a good weekend, man.
Besides Sunday, yeah, pretty good. But if I say I got to agree with Brent, I mean, I believe he's put up good numbers, and some of the interceptions he's done, they've just been tip balls. They could go either way, flip of the coin, if you will, besides the one underthrow in Miami. But, I mean, yes, he has his rookie. You could see little mistakes that he still does, but he has put up good numbers. Now, this is something I heard earlier today during Jaguars drive time from Josh Ozier, Brian Saxton, and Ashland. The past couple games, when he's throwing over 40 passes, he's not coming up with a win. And if you go back to Indianapolis, he just threw 20 passes and he busted out a win. I don't think there's enough consistency between transfer from run to pass. Once they get in the second half, they're just throwing nonstop. And I think when it comes down to that, Minshew, that's the only thing. When he's throwing 40 passes, the game might not deliver, especially with a defense that can't back you up.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it, Steven. I do think there's that number, that balance that everybody wants. I get it. I mean, I don't know if that exists in this day and age anymore, though, either. I don't know if, 27 for 40 didn't feel like he threw it too much to me. Yeah. There were two 2-minute things going on there at the end of the half where you're always going to throw. If James Robinson gets to keep the 40-yard – I really believe there were two critical plays in this game. Well, I believe there were three on offense. I'll take away the defense, okay?
Yep.
I think there were three critical plays in the game. The 40-yard run taken back. If he gets that, now all of a sudden he's got 18 carries for 115 yards. Mm-hmm. And you're probably feeding him a little bit more because now you're 1st and 10 on the 30, right? I think the pass that we're talking about with Minshew, that short hops O'Shaughnessy, is another big play because that then puts you ahead of the chains. You're 2nd and 4 or 2nd and 3. Again, hand off to Robinson. And that drive probably keeps going. The way they've moved the football this year, I have faith that that drive's going to keep moving. So that's probably another 2, 3, 4 touches somewhere along the way with those two plays for James Robinson. And now you're saying, that's 22 runs with 40 passes. Mm-hmm. Or whatever it might be. And then the other play that I thought was critical was the Eifert play. I mean, I just think if you're looking at the offense alone, not even in the context of the game, those three plays took probably points off the board. And it was a pop. It was a big pop at the end of that play. Again, I mean, he got up and you could tell he was I thought he had a concussion. He went into the tent and then came back out, but he was a little wobbly there. And I always I hate to say that he should. I even probably put it in context of a tweet wrong, in terms of a drop. But it goes down as a ball that, to me, a lot of guys do catch as well in the NFL. They hang on to that thing, and now it's 1st and goal from the 2. Mm-hmm. So those three plays, to me, change a little bit of the balance, how much more you feel strongly about James Robinson running it 4, 5, 6 more times, how many more points they would have scored. If they had 35 points, what are we saying instead about, are we saying, wow, man, Minshew, he does look like the real thing?
I mean,
I don't know. Or is it all W? Is it 35-33? It had to be instead of 33-25.
Yeah. Listen, you know how I feel about it. I think wins and losses are the ultimate factor right now. I truly do. And
he's got no chance if that's the ultimate. Well, if that's the only.
And maybe I'm wrong, man.
Maybe if it's the only factor, he's got no chance.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that, let's say Doug Marrone loses his job, they bring in a completely new staff, and maybe the staff's like, all right, well, they won 3 or 4 games this past year, but you know what? Let's go ahead and keep rolling with what we got because we'll see what happens. We can do it our way. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm just saying, usually the way the NFL works is if you're not winning games, regardless of the situation of who you have having your back, what your defense looks like, if you're not winning games, unfortunately, I feel like they tend to go in a new direction. Now, maybe for Minshew, it's an exception. I wouldn't mind seeing it be an exception because, once again, I'm not saying Minshew's a horrible quarterback. I don't want my words to get misconstrued here. All I'm saying is that I think that the most important stat on a quarterback's resume are the wins and the losses. And right now, unfortunately, Minshew has 3 losses this year.
What's interesting, we did this exercise when we were in the sports office yesterday. We were like, well, 25 points isn't that bad, right? I mean, they had a missed field goal as well. And well, what would you have beaten? After the early games, I think they would have beaten like 3 teams based on the scoring. Mm-hmm. Everything's in the 30s. Mm-hmm. Everything's in the 30s. The funny thing about the Jags defense giving up 30 a game is like, it's really not that far off from a lot of teams giving up 30. It just looks so much worse.
Well, that's the key.
It's just like the pace of it is so different. Mm-hmm. But then you take in the afternoon games. I just counted the 25 points for the Jags would have beaten 9 other teams in the NFL yesterday and tied 1 more, Philly, in terms of point output. Yeah. I'm not saying they would have won all those games because the defenses might have scored a lot more against the Jags. But I'm just saying 25 points is enough to win in the NFL with an average defense. I mean, some of these defenses, the Colts have a good defense, the Rams have a good defense, but the Giants don't have a good defense, and they held the Rams to 17 points, So, I mean, those are the kind of games you think if you can keep a team to 23 with this offense, you've got a really good chance to win games.
Sure. And I want to touch a little more, too, on the stat. What was the over-under of how many passes he throws where they win or they lose? I'm sorry, what did Steven say? Yeah, what did Steven say?
I think it was like I think he said when it goes over 40, I think 40 is what
passes.
he said.
Okay, so be it. And obviously, I think one would think, well, if you're passing under 40 per pop, that means that your running game is doing pretty good, right?
Probably, yeah.
And your line running game. And I think the running game actually did very well on Sunday. It's just you kind of abandoned it for whatever reason. The
Those
flow of the
series
game.
Again.
Yeah. The flow of the game kind of took your running game out of it. Hindsight's 2020. You probably should have went back to James Robinson a little more and pounded the rock because he was having overall a pretty good day. But my point that I'm trying to say here is, if you throw that stat at Russell Wilson, if you throw that stat at Dak Prescott, if you throw that stat at anybody else, and Patrick Mahomes, and you say, well, what happens if Patrick Mahomes passes over 40 times a game? What's going to happen? Well, they probably still get a good chance of winning. Same thing with Russell Wilson, right? Like, I'm not sure.
Not Dak Prescott.
Not Dak Prescott right now, obviously. That's a good call. But, like, I guess my point is, like, now we have to put a cap on it where it's like, all right, well, he's a good quarterback as long as he doesn't throw over 40. Come on, we can't get wrapped up in that kind of analytic, in my opinion.
See, to me, that's the beauty of this. This is what shows you have a quarterback that I'm okay with him throwing it 35, 40 times.
Yeah.
That was a stat that you needed to do with Blake Bortles.
Sure.
If Bortles threw it, I remember, I did the work on it. I remember the Brent Sports Bureau did this. And because
Brent Sports Bureau.
It was like over 28 passes. 28 was the number.
Yeah. If
Blake kept it under 28 passes and they used Leonard Fournette, then they were very effective. Very effective. As soon as they got a little muddy between like 28 and 32. And when he went over 32, well, now you've raised the risk because of some of the throws that he makes, that turnovers were going to happen that much more.
Yeah.
See, this guy's throwing it. He's throwing 40 times a game and he's still 72%. Now, that's a little bit the way of the NFL right now. I mean, Phillip Rivers throwing 78% of his passes for completions. Why? Because everything's sideways, and that's the way the NFL is. Where a lot of guys, if you look at the stats, a lot of guys' completion percentage is way up. Now, some of the problem in Philadelphia is like Carson Wentz's is way down.
Correct.
So I'm not saying some teams don't have the problem. But Minshew throwing it 35 times, I don't think that means you lose. I think he's capable. And I think that's a good thing. He can get into a shootout with somebody, go up and down the field, and usually get it done. I think in this particular game, I think if you go back to Tennessee, he made a couple mistakes. He had that awful sack, and he also ended up with the pick that he throws into the line of scrimmage when again, that's an opportunity as a quarterback, which he's already delivered on a couple of times, comeback wins, and that one he didn't get it done. All right, that's the NFL. Well, this time around, I think that third quarter, those 2 series, again, that throw to O'Shaughnessy and the timing of when it happened was a big play in the game. They got rattled and out of sync for a couple of series after that holding penalty against James Robinson. They didn't maybe go back to Robinson enough. So between Gruden, Minshew, and the offense, they got out of sync for 2 series. And with this football team, the way it's constructed, game over.
Yeah.
It was game over.
Yeah.
That's when they lost the game. Now, that wasn't their fault. Their defense still stinks. That's what lost them the game. But they couldn't keep up because they had an off couple of series.
Yeah.
And so that's just the way it's built. And you need them to elevate then.
True.
You need them. Those guys, you're talking the Russell Wilsons. Dak Prescott almost brought them back because he elevated his game in the second half.
True.
He said, we're not going to sit here and just lose 41-10. We're going to watch this. We're going to come back and maybe
I got
beat
something
you.
to say about it. No, you're absolutely right. But, like, and listen, you're absolutely right. Like, this is the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, right? They're like a Swiss watch, right? And they have all these cogs in it. And when one of the cogs, something happens and it blows, the whole watch goes to you know what, let's just say. Okay, and then that's what this team is right now, where if you have a bad squib kick, if you have a turnover, like
a holding call.
Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, if you have one, penalty, you're done, essentially. And not every single NFL team is built like that.
No, it's a good point.
Usually NFL teams are built, okay, adversity here, you know what? Let's be better than that. Let's overcome it, and we'll win this ball game. Unfortunately, right now, from what I see from these Jaguars, they can't do it.
Yeah, the margin of error is just that thin.
So thin.
And that's why, again, I think that goes back to the whole idea of this conversation. I wonder if we're getting our look of Minshew even skewed from that because the margin for error is so thin that now we're saying, all right, dude, you better be perfect or you're just not the franchise guy. I mean, if you don't score every drive, then you're just not the franchise guy. Are we saying that is my curiosity. He might not be the franchise guy. I just wonder if in a game like yesterday, we're almost saying that, hey, you can't take a series off.
Yeah.
You have to be better than that. And listen, if we look at Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, other guys, they probably had 3 and outs yesterday.
Absolutely.
Maybe just not at the critical time. Josh says, I'm starting to wonder if he has an undisclosed injury. He throws look a little awkward. Maybe I'm just looking for something. Josh, I don't see that. I don't. I mean, he has had a couple of throws that look a little awkward. I believe that. I thought a couple weeks ago the ball was sailing on him early in the game. So I don't know. But he looks healthy to me. I don't think there's anything up there. Let's see. Tell me this. Outside of the top 8 QBs in the league, how many QBs could have done much better in the game this weekend? If the number is not many, then that will directly answer your question.
Out of the top 8, you said?
Yeah. Somebody else asked.
Striving for. I mean, you got to get a top 8 QB.
Well, I think right now the Jags would be happy with like a top 12 to 14 QB. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in the league. But is that good enough? And that's a fair question. 12 to 14, or can you have the next big thing, which might be Trevor Lawrence? That's the question people are asking. What do you think of Justin Herbert in comparison to Minshew? Says King Bean the GOAT. All right. King Bean the GOAT.
Did you watch the game?
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty good, right?
I mean, guy went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady. And at the end, Tom Brady showed you why he's Tom Brady, why he's the GOAT. But I thought we saw vast improvements in a big day from Justin Herbert.
But 20 of 25 for 290, and he had a couple of huge plays. But again, had 3 touchdowns, and he did have a pick. Got sacked a couple of times.
But keep in mind, too, his safety blanket, his biggest security deposit, Austin Eckler, goes early in the game. I mean, that guy's the ultimate security deposit. Goes down.
The fact that they went toe-to-toe. Now, in the second half, they scored 7 points.
Sure.
So when it was money time to really – he had one sequence where he competed toe-to-toe with Brady.
Yeah.
Because Brady answered 28-24, then he comes back and throws. And so everybody's like, oh, Herbert, man, he went toe-to-toe for okay, they scored 7 points in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean – did they really do enough? I mean,
okay.
They were up 24-7. I mean, you got to keep your foot on the gas.
Well, yeah, but they also ran the ball a lot more in the second half than they did in the first half. Like, all of a sudden, the game script changed. It's like, all right, well, let's just maintain, not throw interceptions.
They played it safe.
And then they kind of eased the reins off Justin Herbert a little bit.
Yeah, listen, I think Herbert looks good.
Sure.
But if you're asking me if I would take Minshew or Herbert right now, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, yeah, Herbert all day. No, I'll take Minshew. Yeah. You have Herbert, I'll take Minshew. I'm just saying, if you, LA, you can have Herbert, and I'll take Minshew right now, and I'll ride with that.
Sure.
So, fair enough.
It's fair enough.
It's a lot like, listen, we do our report cards tomorrow.
Yeah.
But right now, Minshew, Daniel Jones, Minshew, Lock, Minshew, Minshew. What else we do? Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
I understand people, but I'll take Minshew right now. Kyler Murray's electric, but I'll take him.
Yeah. Okay.
Right now.
Well, all right.
We'll get into that tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait. Joe Burrow.
No, but see, I think I would take Burrow.
Really?
And he didn't do anything to wow me yesterday, but I think I see it in him. I think I see something a little different. Like I do, if I'm being honest. And by the way, when I say that about Murray, it's probably more just Team Murray, Team Minshew.
It's all good.
But I think I'm not as sold on Murray. Yeah. Although I think 9 out of 10 people, 99 out of 100 people probably would sit there and tell me Murray, yeah, for sure. He's electric, and he does some things that Minshew definitely can't do.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what you got to ask yourself. That's what you got to ask yourself, by the way, when you're talking Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, Justin Fields. Does he do things that maybe Minshew can't do? It's not his fault. He's still a good quarterback.
Sure.
But if you want to be great, if you're striving for greatness.
Keep in mind, though, I mean, Kyler Murray can do a lot of things that Tom Brady can't do, but Tom Brady seems to be doing just fine.
Well, that's true. Kyler Murray can do a lot of things. He's explosive. Doesn't make him a great quarterback. He might not win big in this league.
Jackson, same way right now. I mean, Jackson's kind of regressed a little bit. I mean, it's still very early in the season, but Lamar Jackson, after his MVP, campaign last year, I think he's okay right now.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what we try to do is we tell the story of these guys too early. Like Patrick Mahomes, you can start telling the story, okay? He's done enough.
It's evident.
I said this to you last year, even after Lamar Jackson won the MVP. I still think you're going to be you want a little bit more of sample size to figure out if he's actually the guy, because I think defenses will adjust. And it's kind of like that. I feel like that to Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And by the way, defense have adjusted a little bit since the first 2 weeks to even Gardner Minshew, right? They've tried to keep him in that pocket. Let him scramble out a little bit. Make it tough for him to see some of those things. Yeah. Take some things away from him.
Yeah.
How is he going to respond to that? That's fair.
Well, and listen, and in terms of that Cardinals-Panthers game, who knew the kryptonite of a Big 12 Kingsbury offense would be a Big 12 style defense in Matt Rule, man? Yeah. But they did a great job.
Carolina, by the way, very impressive.
Teddy Bridgewater.
And we slept on the Bridgewater part of it because you just don't know what you're going to get with Bridgewater.
Yeah.
How much was a flash in the pan? But Bridgewater's done enough. Rule's getting them to play hard. They've been good defensively.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the NFL. Actually, we can do it right now. I mean, the NFL in general, you're not getting a lot of defense. We got it in the afternoon games.
Yeah.
But I think Rule in Carolina, last week's game, against the Chargers, played some pretty good defense.
Sure.
I think this week against Kyler Murray and that offense, they gave up some explosives, but they actually limited him. They had a great game plan.
Yeah.
And to win that game, I think Rule and Carolina are doing a fantastic job after starting 0-2 and looked like they'd be in the tank conversation.
Listen, and shout out to Teddy Bridgewater, man. Like I was watching a lot of that game, obviously, because I got my starting quarterback going on my fantasy team. I had to watch that. But Teddy, I don't know. I don't know if he's the reincarnation of Michael Vick, but 6 carries, all of a sudden 32 yards with Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater might run a 6 flat 40. Not even exaggerating. Like watching him run out there, but for whatever reason, the Cardinals couldn't tackle him. So it was a very impressive win by the Panthers.
Yeah,
props to them.
Yeah, and they've kind of taken themselves out of the tank conversation.
Right now, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because they would fit the bill. They gave Teddy Bridgewater like a 1-year deal, I think it was.
Yeah.
And that's it.
They're 2-2 right now.
And they're 2-2. Some of these guys I know who I didn't compare to. Dwayne Haskins, he actually had his best day as a pro.
Yeah.
At throwing the football.
Daniel Jones, let's go ahead and throw him in the mix quick. That's your boy.
Yeah, they still can't. Well, we did that.
No.
He's better. Minshew take over Daniel Jones. That's what we said.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
But I think Minshew I'd take over Haskins, but I'm just saying Haskins is progressively getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm still not sold on him. I know there was a lot of concern about turnovers, but he had a pretty good day yesterday. I mean, it's 32-45, 314. Now, I didn't watch every game. So, again, you would say the same about Minshew.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? What did it look like? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's what we say and what we argue a little bit about Kyler Murray. You look at the stats and you're like, hey, pretty good. 3 touchdowns, I think, another long run. But come on, man, you're throwing it 4 yards a pop. You're not even doing anything.
Well, and to be fair, I mean, Kyler Murray, he's got a lot of weapons at his disposal. I mean, so does Gardner Minshew, though, right?
Yeah, Minshew's got a lot.
But I think, like, Haskins, and then we can put, I mean, obviously doesn't really fit the mold, but, like, Sam Darnold as well. Like, what do they have, really?
It's a fair point.
And it's like, yeah.
And and to your point, Sam Darnold's going to be done after this year.
Probably.
And he probably didn't get any help around him. And somebody else will take a chance on him. Because, like, hey, we'll put him in a better situation. We think he's a little bit better than this.
Sure.
And maybe he ends up being good.
Yeah.
Like, that second dance for Sam Darnold, depending on the situation, could be pretty good.
Sure.
Or
it could be like Josh Rosen.
Or it could be like Rosen. You're right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, that's the thing. Sometimes you just don't know. And that's what I guess we're asking with Minshew. Do we not really know because the defense is so porous? It's not that he doesn't have weapons. It's that the defense is so porous right now that it's hard to even judge your offense and your quarterback.
Let me ask you this, and I'm trying to think back as much as I can. Has there ever been a circumstance with like a Sam Darnold situation or even like a Gardner Minshew situation this year where instead of going with a draft, they actually waited to find out, is he indeed the guy, and it worked out? Like, I mean, obviously it's a pretty specific scenario. You don't have to do research on it. Yeah.
I'd have to think. I would say outside of very few circumstances, I would think if heck, even the Giants right now, the Jets, the Broncos say, maybe the Jags, right? Even though they feel like, hey, we might have a guy that's pretty good. In this situation, if they had the number 1 pick, they're all taking Trevor Lawrence. I think if you ask, like, Houston tanks and they get 1-15, they're trading a boatload of picks away.
They're going to have a king's ransom.
Right?
Yeah.
For Deshaun Watson, and they're trying to help him out.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing. We even talked about it yesterday in the show, like Cincinnati. What if they're bad again? Well, you trade them all away and you go get offensive linemen and another weapon and another this guy. Well, then it makes sense. You already got your guy. Then you trade away and you get a bunch in return. But very few teams it makes sense to do that. I mean, you got to have your quarterback essentially locked up dollars-wise. Yeah. I think the most fascinating one would be like two are really fascinating. Well, really 3. If Atlanta continues to struggle, Minnesota struggles, and they end up somehow with a top pick like that, or Philadelphia. Because all those guys have paid their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So would you then still take that next quarterback? And Philly's the most interesting because Carson Wentz is young.
Sure.
Ryan, you could argue, okay, he's old enough. Let's go get a new guy. Cousins, we gave him enough chances. Let's go get a new guy. But those teams that have paid, yet still might stink and end up in that spot. Yeah. Those are the interesting. I think those guys are too good to end up in that spot. Like Wentz, Ryan, and Cousins, unless they get hurt and have to go to their backup QB, they're not ending up in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes.
No.
I find it hard to believe. You can't even try.
Once again, with Wentz, though, it's the Dak Prescott effect. Like, he's built up equity. Remember, there was a time before Wentz got hurt where he was in the MVP consideration, right?
Absolutely.
And you give him all this money, so I feel like they're kind of pot committed right now towards Wentz.
Well,
let's be honest, though, but he hasn't played like himself this year at all. I mean, even that 49ers game last night, he had some struggles, so...
And they're beat up around.
It's a good observation. They are, yeah.
They're beat up around them. Quick thought about the NFL. I mean, how about the Cowboys, though? 1-3. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Are you surprised? Mike Nolan's their defensive coordinator. Like, we're talking about Todd Wash around here. Like, in the Big D, with Mike McCarthy, with Jerry Jones.
It's got to be a little pride there, guys, huh?
Are you surprised? Like, unless I missed it, did they fire him? I mean, is there Mike Nolan? I mean, he's a defensive coordinator. Do they have to make a move?
I have no idea.
They're lucky they play in the NFC East.
I know. They're tied for first, right?
Well, no, they're actually in second.
Second place.
Eagles are in first at 1-2-1.
That's right, because they have the tie. Yeah, I mean, listen, to me, like, that was supposed to be the breakout of the Cowboys. Like, all right, guys, we had a kind of a rough start. This is who we are right now. Well, who you showed you are is you got curb stomped by the Cleveland Browns. Now, Cleveland Browns may be on the rise a little bit, but let's be honest. If you're the Cowboys, you got to win that game. And let's be honest, if you're a Cowboys fan right now, and we're talking Mike McCarthy, and listen, you can ask Packer fans about this, but it's more of the same right now in terms of how that defense is operating and how, undisciplined they are in the first half. I get Mike McCarthy, and listen, I have nothing against Mike McCarthy at all. Remember the whole thing, though, in the offseason with what was Mike McCarthy? Analytics. Like, I changed my whole philosophy around. BS. Okay, because at the end of the day, you are who you are. Okay, so you can say you're going to evolve to this or evolve to this, but at the end of the day, your style is your style. And, like, that's ingrained in you, in my opinion. You just can't change it. And what you're seeing right now in Dallas is a lot what you saw towards the end in Green Bay. Now, yes, McCarthy went to the Super Bowl with the Packers 1 year. He had some pretty good years, to say the least. But I'm just saying, if you're in Dallas right now, you aren't liking what you're seeing.
2 other questions. Can the Colts win this way in this era of offense? Their defense might be the best in the NFL. Well, it is statistically. It still doesn't jump out of me like, oh, my gosh, I'm afraid of that defense. But they've been good.
Well, and they also played the Jets 1 week. So
well, they played the Jets. They played a struggling Minnesota team, and they played Chicago, who's inept on offense pretty much most of the time. But they're winning 19-11. So are they smoke and mirrors here a little bit, or can you win like this in the NFL still? Because I question you can when everybody's scoring 30.
Yeah. I think eventually it catches up with you, right? I mean, this is an offensive-driven league, Brent, and if you can't at least go toe for toe, I don't care how good your secondary is. I don't care how good your linebackers are. I don't care how much Justin Houston's rushing right now. At the end of the day, you got to put up points, I feel like, in this league. Now, once you get to the playoffs, maybe that one-off game where it's cold weather, bad inclement weather, yeah, then your defense can win you it. But I just think from a full season, keep in mind, we saw with the Patriots last year a little bit. They didn't go to the Super Bowl, though, did they? They went to the playoffs, yada, yada, yada. So with that being said, I don't think they can sustain unless Philip Rivers ups his play a little bit.
Bottom line, Philip Rivers is not playing still that good. They're 3-1.
Sure.
But he's not playing great football. Last one. Could the Bills be peaking too early, I thought about? They are playing so well right now. They're putting up 30 a game. Josh Allen's playing lights out. But I don't have the confidence, whether it's because it's Buffalo, and by the way, the Jags and Cleveland Browns and all those people live in that same kind of neighborhood, or if it's because it's Josh Allen. If you're asking me, can Patrick Mahomes play this way all year? Can Russell Wilson play this way all year? Can Dak Prescott do this all year? I say, well, yeah, I've kind of seen that. I think they can. I think they can do it. Josh Allen, we haven't seen this kind of Josh Allen. So I kind of am wondering, are they almost peaking in early October and late September, where a lot of these teams say, hey, let's hit our stride later in the year?
I mean, it's not a bad theory. I just think that the way they're built in the Buffalo Bills, like, you have a defense right now that's definitely the top half of the NFL, and obviously you have an offense right now that's very dynamic and is led with Josh Allen and Devin Singletary. Who's the Singletary? That's Devin.
But Stephon Diggs, too.
No, but yeah, but I was going to say there's one Singletary in Chicago as well.
Devin Singletary.
Devin Singletary, yeah. So he's starting to be a little more dynamic in the pass game as well. I was watching that game yesterday a little bit. Like, to me, the Buffalo Bills, maybe next to the Chiefs, and I'm throwing the Ravens out of there. I think the Chiefs and the Bills right now, they have one thing in common. Nope, not Seattle. Is what I'm about to say. They have one thing in common. They know exactly who they are, identity-wise. Like, the Chiefs, you know what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
I think the Bills know what they're bringing to the table, too. They're a tough, physical team who wants to pound the rock, but then guess what? When we start pounding the rock, we switch it up a little bit, play action, Diggs down the middle, pick your poison, right? I think with the Seahawks, yeah, I get Russell Wilson's their identity, but to me, it's still Pete Carroll. Like, that defense has to do better, in my opinion, to be called your identity. So I think right now the Bills truly know what their identity is, and it's obviously having great effect.
I will say this. I was flat out. I thought they gave up way too much to get Stephon Diggs. I was like, he can't be that much of a difference maker. He has been.
Yeah.
He has been. The first month of the season, been every bit of that. Yeah. It was worth it, and he has been a difference maker. I think he has changed their offense.
He has, and because he's that deep ball threat. At the same case, though, I mean, the Vikings did good from that trade as well, because they had Justin Jefferson now, who looks dang good as well.
Yeah. So both sides won.
Both sides won.
By the way, their trades have been working. Jan got another sack. He's got 3 sacks in 4 games.
It's more than
some of their
entire team.
Yeah. So some of their trades have been working out. Yeah, they're still not very good.
Sure.
So they've got issues.
Yeah.
But some of those trades that they made seemingly have worked out. It's really, to me, you got to wonder if the Kirk Cousins stuff has worked out, right? Because Dalvin Cook's it's almost like, why? Justin Jefferson looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, one of the best runners in the league.
Still have Thielen doing really well.
They're beat up a little bit in spots on defense, too. Yeah. But still, I feel like they should be way better than they are. We'll see. Maybe they catch fire now after beating the Houston Texans. I got a little question, and do we have concern about the coaching? What was the 2-point play? Why not go for it on other plays? Where does the coaching come in for the Jags, and do they deserve some criticism right now about everything kind of looking the same through the first month of the year? Mm-hmm. When do you have to pivot? When do you have to change? Let's talk a little bit about Doug Marrone, Todd Wash, and others. And analytics enters the equation. Certainly. We'll talk a little bit about, Jay, what went on in the city today, how meaningful that could be. Also, Major League Baseball playoffs pick back up. NBA now has a series. And we got some football tonight, Pats and Chiefs. Tonight on CBS 47, that one will kick off at 7 o'clock. Jags Report Live will move to tomorrow night because of that. So 7 o'clock, Chiefs and Jags on CBS 47. We'll be back on ESPN 690 after this.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly cloudy today, a few scattered showers, highs in the mid-70s, dropping only a few degrees tonight into the lower 70s, and partly to mostly cloudy tomorrow. A scattered shower, a thunderstorm, and up to 81. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 at Fox 30 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's BOGO Wedding Band Sale October 10th through the 24th.
Love telling you about Fields Auto Group. We had such a good experience recently. My wife is leasing a Cadillac XT6. Fields Cadillac Jacksonville. They were tremendous to work with. Different level kind of customer service with Fields Auto Group. You can get it as well. No matter what you're driving, you can step up to luxury for less. Now at any of the Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville, they have Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. It's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields amenities program. And there you'll get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. Whatever you're driving, see Fields and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Do what we did and go visit fieldsauto.com.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence. Or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And your appliance is breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Back to school also means back to Friday night football. Get to the game in style in a new Honda from Honda of the Avenues. Their incredible summer clearance event is going on now to make room for the new 2021 models. Find great deals and haul the whole team in a new Odyssey, Pilot, or CRV. Plus, Hondas are safe and reliable, just what you and your team need. Don't miss kickoff. Stop by the Honda Giant on Phillips Highway just a few yards south of the Avenues to see all their inventory, or start looking right now at HondaoftheAvenues.com.
Join ESPN 690 in Shopping the 904. When you help businesses here on the First Coast, you're really helping all of us. And it keeps our local economy going. That means jobs. 2020 has been a really tough year, especially for locally owned businesses. And you can make a difference when you shop local. So if you live in St. John's, Duval, Baker, Clay, Nassau, or other surrounding counties, shop local. Shop the 904.
Shop the 904.
Bring a little spice into your sex life. Adam and Eve Adult Store. It's the trusted name in adult entertainment. Secure private shopping experience at AdamEveOutlet.com. That's AdamEveOutlet.com.
Zero Res here. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Mention Happy Birthday Zero Res, and I will throw in the stairs or the hallway for free.
Internal Revenue Service. When you owe a personal or business tax debt and can't pay, just hearing those 3 words brings feelings of fear and anxiety. I'm Jonathan David Suryash, Managing Tax Attorney at J. David Tax Law. Everyone knows that if you owe the IRS and don't pay, it's only a matter of time before tax liens, wage garnishments, or bank levies happen to you. The first step to resolution is our no-cost consultation. We take the time to go through your specific tax problem step by step. We explain exactly what your options are and how we will resolve your tax issue. J. David Tax Law is a local firm right here in Jacksonville, where only an experienced tax attorney will represent you. Our fee payment plans are affordable for everyone. If you have tax problems, call us now for a no-cost consultation at 904-507-4777. That's 904-507-4777, or find us on the web at jdavidtaxlaw.com. That's jdavidtaxlaw.com. Peace of mind is only a click or phone call away.
Home Builders Institute is a national leader for career training in the building industry and provides students the skills and experience they need for successful careers. HBI training programs are taught in local communities across the country to youth, veterans, displaced workers, and other underserved populations. These programs do more than just provide job skills. They also build character and self-esteem, helping to provide students with the skills they need to succeed on the job and in life. Learn more at hbi.org.
Donato's Pizza is proud to support the Florida State Seminoles. When it comes to pizza for game time, we can suit any taste. From 100 pepperonis on a large loaded edge-to-edge on smoked provolone and Romano, to our delicious and healthy cauliflower crust tomato bruschetta with plant-based sausage, to mariachi chicken, to the founder's favorite, and more. We offer a convenient pickup window or prompt delivery. Just give Donato's a try. That's all we ask. Order at 904donatos.com or call 904-DONATOS on your phone.
My community means everything to me. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The training and leadership skills I get from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people and look out for my community. If you'd like to learn how you too can serve part-time in the community you love, visit nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida Army National Guard, aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our Best Wellness program, and welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. When seconds count, call 911. The hospital is the safest place to be. Visit heart.org/don't die of doubt. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, locally supported by
Ascension St. Vincent's.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by StarStar, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing StarStar Mobile from your mobile phone. That's StarStar Mobile.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Monday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Yesterday in the NFL, the Jags struggled to find a pass rush again as they fell to 1-3, losing to the until yesterday winless Cincinnati Bengals 25-33. Undrafted rookie running back James Robinson continued to impress, and Gardner Minshew threw for 351 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 pick, but it still wasn't enough. Here's Jags QB1 Gardner Minshew, who's looking for answers.
It's one of those things that, we set out every drive to go score 7 points. We fall short sometimes, we get it sometimes. No matter what, I think we just got to take it one play at a time, one drive at a time mentality, and that's our best recipe for success.
And in NBA Finals news, Jimmy Butler's huge night pushed the Heat past the LA Lakers, which now lead the series 2-1. If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN 690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN 690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
By the way, I watched Holly Holm. I was like 1:15 in the morning, by the way. Stayed up to watch that fight.
Yeah.
Watched every second of it.
Good for you, man. Doing the homework. Hey.
She kicked butt.
She still has it, huh? She still has it.
That was actually, you know what? That was one of the more entertaining MMA fights I've seen.
Oh, really? Oh, Brendan, you have to step your MMA game up then, man. That was an okay fight, but come on. There's so much more to offer.
Well, here's what I appreciated about it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I don't know much about MMA.
Okay.
Right? So I listen and I'm watching, and I think like that looked like a tactician doing their thing.
Sure.
Like, and the other girl couldn't do anything about it.
Correct.
I mean,
yes.
They just couldn't do it. It didn't matter.
Zero adjustments made at halftime. Let's just say.
Adjustments.
Yeah.
But even it didn't feel like it. it would have mattered. I mean, that was just somebody who executed their game plan to perfection.
Yep.
And 38 years old. Man, why would you still be doing that at 38 years old?
And she has one of the best nicknames of all MMA. Preacher's daughter.
I thought you were going to ask me that.
Yeah, I got to love that. Listen, a great performance by Holly Holm. We don't have to get too in-depth into it. Obviously, I don't want to bore the non-MMA community out there.
Bore them. Come on.
But I'm just going to say this, though. I was impressed from one standpoint, and that was the cardio of Holly Holm. Because in case you didn't notice, she was on her bicycle. She was moving back and circling the entire fight.
They questioned whether she would run out of gas.
Exactly, and I questioned it as well. So the way I can compare it to is this. The next time you want to see how tough and how in shape Holly Holm is, drink, like if you're big into coffee, drink 2 times the amount of coffee you usually drink to really boost up your heart rate, because obviously she's got adrenaline flowing in the cage. Do that, and then essentially backpedal as fast as you can, like in the middle of the street, like on a sidewalk, backpedal for 25 straight minutes and see how that works out for you at full speed. That's essentially what Holly Holm did the entire time. So I was more impressed than that, more than anything. Now, to be fair, her opponent should have made it a habit of maybe not letting her circle so much. I don't think they really had a game plan going into the fight. So, like, that to me, it was like you said, it was an exciting fight. It was an exciting fight. You could tell at the end, Holly Holm wanted that finish, man. She was, I mean, it was like, this is Sparta, screaming as loud as she could. I respect that. I praise that. But I think her opponent, man, just whether she underestimated her or just the game plan wasn't there, but she had to cut her off one time. They kept on going around in a circle. It was just like, yeah, do something else. It ain't working.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was almost like the fight was too big for her, because that was a big stage for that.
Big stage. Yep.
Fighter, right?
Absolutely. But yeah, look at you doing the homework. I like it, man.
I did. I enjoyed the fight.
Yeah.
I actually did. Thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos talking football, too. Doug Marrone yesterday goes for 2 points, down 2 touchdowns. This is a hashtag analytic question.
Oh, man, don't get me started with
this. At the same time, in Detroit, Michigan, Matt Patricia, in the same situation, does the same thing. Yeah. We have seen other teams do it. In fact, I tweeted last night as I was got home. I was thinking of it on my way home, so then I tweeted it. That's what I do sometimes.
Sure.
Tweet a lot of what I'm thinking. And I was like, I feel like yesterday had like a record amount of 2-point conversion attempts, or maybe even makes. And I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere.
Eagles, the Cowboys had 3 in a row at one time.
Correct.
The Jags tried, of course. The Detroit tried. I feel like I saw more than ever before. And obviously here in Jacksonville, it was a conversation. One of those moments, like, what are you doing? And I understand.
One second. The Cowboys, I understand, because what did Mike McCarthy preach? I mean, analytics. So I got the Cowboys.
Well, and they were down by a million.
Please continue. Yeah.
So, what was your thought when they did it? The Jags down by 2 touchdowns, and all of a sudden they're going for 2.
I said honeybees sting. That's what I said in my tweet, because listen, I was that taken aback by it. Okay, because I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, you had some momentum going, right? You just scored a touchdown. I'm like, all right, kick the extra point. Let's go back and let's get another score here. Let's tie it up. And that's not what took part. Now, listen, analytics, I don't know. Analytics, to me, you can shape anything and try to make it work for you. But here's my issue with that call. Now, I get it. Hindsight's 20/20. If they make the 2-point conversion, am I celebrating? Maybe. But here's what's wrong with it. And here's why I disagreed with that call to go for the 2-point conversion. You want to say that you're watching the analytics right now, right? And you want to say that your team's all about analytics. But if that's the case, you guys chose to receive to open the kickoff. Now, whatever you think about your defense, so-and-so, what do the analytics say about when you win the coin toss to defer to the second half? Check those analytics. And if you want to get even more in-depth, and if you want to be an analytical team, what did the analytics say about Calais Campbell last year and his ability to stop the run? Did Pro Football Focus say he was the best defensive tackle in the entire NFL of stopping the run? But those analytics don't work? So to me, if you're going to be an analytical team and rely on it, then go all in and rely on it. But don't just pick and choose here, and here of when to use it. And that's where my frustration stems from.
It's a great call. I didn't even think of the personnel part of it.
Oh, don't worry, man. I slept on this the entire night, Brent. I was fuming.
That's a good call, though. I mean, if you're in analytics, do you have to be all in or all out? You know, the Tampa Bay Rays, the New York Yankees, I believe, fired Joe Girardi and got Aaron Boone because they want to be more analytical driven, and I don't think Girardi, quite frankly, was willing to do that. He wanted to use this mix. And I believe maybe you do need a mix at times. I think the gut part of it is still important. I do. I think the common sense part of it is sometimes important. And that's why in that spot, I question the 2-point conversion. I understand what the analytics say. I believe I do. I mean, I don't know exactly what they say, but my guess is that card says you score on a 2-point conversion 48 to 50% of the time, and in the way the kicks are now, they're 33 yards away, so you might miss, and you do the math on that, and if you score one out of if you score the first time, all you need is a kick to win the game, and the second time, I get the thinking. But what they don't take into consideration is the emotion and the psyche. And how many times have we seen Jason Myers over the years when he was here? Jags would score a touchdown, bam, he missed the kick, and it almost deflates you. Right? And while people won't say, oh, yeah, well, we got deflated and we end up losing because we missed an extra. They don't say that, but it happens. It happens subconsciously. My guess is yesterday in Cincinnati, when they made that decision to go for 2 and they missed the decision, 50 guys on that sideline were like, why did we just do that?
Correct.
Like, what? Why did we do that? Like, not saying, Coach, you're a moron, like probably the rest of Jacksonville was trying to say at the time, but why did we do that? Like, and so just the even doubt of why did we just do that takes you a little bit off your momentum and the emotion of the moment, and then trying to come back. And let's be perfectly honest. The Jags defense didn't look like it was going to stop anybody anyway. It didn't stop anybody.
Well, maybe that was a kind of a nod to them as well, saying, you know what, we got to go for 2 because we got to try to win this game because their defense can't stop anybody.
I guess, but you still have to get the ball back one way or another.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I agree with you here, Brent. I'm wholeheartedly with you here.
So, but I think you bring up a greater point. It's like if you're going to be all in on the analytics like that, and if you're going to play that seems so unorthodox, which a lot of things do seem unorthodox now in sports because of analytics, and we have to kind of train ourselves, then why didn't they go for it on 4th and 2 and they kicked the 48-yard field goal instead? My guess is the analytics say on that side of the field, 4th and 2 is a pretty good play. Maybe just as good of a play as bringing a guy you've never met kick a 48-yard field goal, especially early in the game on the road.
Correct.
Why didn't they maybe go for it at the end of the first half, 4th and 1, when they had everybody reeling and they were obviously driving the ball? Maybe analytics says, hey, kick the field goal, go take the lead into halftime. But maybe it doesn't. We don't have the card. Like, we don't know what the card says. But why doesn't, in some of those circumstances, and to your point, maybe even in personnel stand, so you have to, are you all in or are you out? On the analytics stuff. And that would be, I don't understand why they went for 2 there and didn't go for it early in the game on 4th and 2. I kind of understand why they didn't go for it on 4th and 1. They wanted points. That was bonus that they got down that far.
Sure. And
so you go kick a field goal. I actually thought they should have ran another play instead of spiking it, but they kicked the field goal. That's fine. But the 4th and 2 early in the game, if you juxtapose that with what they did with the 2-point conversion later in the game, to me, it doesn't add up.
Well, and also, what do the analytics say when you have the ball like at the 2-yard line and you want to pass it in the end zone to Chris Conley, you know, on that fade or whatever that was, right, instead of running the ball in? You know what I'm talking about? There was that one play where they got towards the end, down the end zone. I can't remember what quarter he would. Basically, I remember saying, like, why are you throwing a fade when you can run the ball in with James Robinson? I forgot when that was. But listen, we're on the same page here because that field goal, I got it. Okay, go ahead and get your points. I understand that point. But then that 2-point conversion, I walked away after that, and regardless of if they would have made it or not, even before the ball was snapped, I'm like, this is not who you guys are right now. Like, this is not you. I don't know what you guys are doing, but this isn't you. This isn't what I'm accustomed to seeing. Now, yeah, it's cool to maybe branch out and be a new person and say, hey, this is the new Jaguars, check us out. But it's not your identity, and it's not who you are. And to echo the point one more time, if you want to be all in on analytics, then be all in on analytics. But don't dip your toe in the pool here or there and say, well, let's try it here. No, because you don't win football like that.
Yeah, and I'll add one more, too. The time at the end of the game, at the end of that game as well, they weren't going to come back and win, but you got to kick the field goal with like 30 seconds to go. Yeah. You don't wait till 12. Yeah. And so these are things that, you know what it feels like to me? It feels like at times they're just grasping and reaching. And to your point about the coin toss, although I was one of those that think they should have, you got to mix something up. Whether you send 8 people to the house on 3 plays in a row because you don't do it, or you pick heads or tails differently, or take the ball. Sometimes you just have to mix it up to mix it up. I believe in that. But if you add up all those plays, it felt like a little bit yesterday that Doug's just grabbing for something because, man, I got to try to get something to work.
No, I mean, listen, I think it's a lack of desperation of trying to make something new work. I agree with you there. Whether it's a coin toss, whether it's 2-point conversion, that's fine. But then if that's really the case right now and you're trying to grab at straws and say, you know what, this little coin right here, that's a quarter, if they flip it and it lands a certain way, we're going to win the ball game. If you're thinking like that, maybe it's time to sit down and have a real conversation with yourself and say, if we're relying on a coin toss to dictate our outcome, how good is this team right now? I mean, is this not football? And we're worried about a coin?
Yeah.
Cool. Analytics. The analytics, man.
Hey, when we come back, we'll talk a little college football, but I've got one more thought, at least as it relates to the Jags and it also in the city. Lot J, what did you think about that today? Will it happen? Won't it happen? A quick thought or two on that. A little more football, NFL style, and some thoughts on the Gators and Dawgs, because this could get really fun in Jacksonville in about a month. It's coming up on ESPN 690.
If you're getting married soon, here's how you can save thousands.
Beards Diamonds has been busy the last few weeks, preparing their showcases for the largest inventory of wedding bands in North Florida.
So if you're popping the question or want to update your bands, you don't want to miss Beards Diamonds' spectacular wedding band sale.
But it's happening 2 weeks only, October 10th through the 24th. Buy any ladies' wedding band and get the men's band free.
Yes, free, and only at Beards Diamonds.
Beards Diamonds has brought in extra inventory just for the sale.
All stackable, all right-hand rings, all eternity bands, and wedding bands.
The largest selection of men's and women's wedding bands in North Florida, all at the guaranteed lowest price.
It's the biggest jewelry event of fall for 2 weeks only, October 10th through the 24th, and it's only at Beards Diamonds.
Where exceptional is affordable.
Beards Diamonds at the St. John's Town Center.
Or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Hey, boss, don't you just love this time of year?
No.
Come on, the weather's changing, football season's here.
I don't like anything in 2020, okay?
Fair enough, but Halloween will be here before you know it.
True. That's always a good night for us crooks. Nobody gives a second look to our disguises.
Yup, all we gotta do is make sure we pick houses without Safe Touch security and we're golden.
Just mentioning Safe Touch security puts me in a foul mood.
And no, all those houses off limits to us crooks because of Safe Touch.
Yeah, they got their 45-second response time, the two-way communicator.
No freedom-loving crook messes with a Safe Touch house.
Exactly. It's why we stick to the Crooks Are Us motto, stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Hey, now there's one thing that's not upside down this year.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number LVA 4188.
Attention all Camry buyers. If you've been wanting a new Camry, then I've got great news for you, because today's the day to get your Camry and save big at Arlington Toyota. It's the Today's the Day sales event going on now at Arlington. And they've made a special purchase of 2020 Camrys. That means they've got 132 new 2020 Camrys in stock and ready to sell. But with a deal like this, you got to get yours before they're all gone. Make today the day you save big at Arlington and buy a new 2020 Camry at 0% for 60 months plus no payments for 90 days. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Want a new Camry? Then today's the day, but they're going fast, so don't wait. Shop safely in person. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/today's the day for full details.
College football, it's the game you wake up early on Saturdays for, even though kickoff isn't until 7. The game where the Goodyear blimp becomes a Hall of Famer. The game that goes just beyond school, spirit, fandom, or love of the sport. It's the game where the comebacks happen. It's the game where anything can and will happen as long as you have the drive. Because college football is the game that moves you. We get it because it moves us too. Goodyear, more driven.
Getting to work is a little different right now. Your new commute may be to the kitchen, or the couch, or the basement. If your commute has changed, you could be saving money on car insurance. With pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate, you get the same reliable coverage you'd expect, but only pay for the miles you drive. Drive less, save more with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote.
Price based on driving behaviors and includes a daily rate subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Slip and falls can be embarrassing, leaving you in pain and feeling like you've lost control. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After a fall, document the scene by taking photographs and make sure to get medical attention for any injuries you may have. If you've been injured in a slip and fall accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation and take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
HBI, a national leader for career training in the building industry, is providing training, certification, and placement in the construction industry for veterans, their spouses, and children that are over the age of 18 at no cost. The following 2020 class dates are being offered: August 10th, September 14th, October 19th, and November 16th. For more program and class details, please call Joe Jones at 407-717-7609 or visit the website at hbi.org. That's hbi.org.
For the ones working tirelessly to keep their coworkers safe. For the ones rising to new challenges. For the ones rebuilding stronger than before. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. Free access to product specialists, safety recovery guides, and 24/7 support. It's part of our commitment to help you adapt and recover in these challenging times. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Nothing is certain except death and taxes. And appliances breaking down as soon as they're out of warranty. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we can't help with the first two, but we've got the third one covered. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have been repairing appliances for more than 35 years, with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. For quality repair at a price that's fair, trust Atlantic Coast Appliance. AtlanticCoastAppliance.com. That's AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio. WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios.
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690 with Brent Martineau and Austin Lane.
Very disappointed. I think being 1-3 at this point, and yesterday when I was leaving Cincinnati, I was reflecting on that, and then it dawned on me that 2 years ago we were 3-1 at this point, and you put it in perspective. It's about life. It's not how you start; it's how you finish. So we know what happened a couple of years ago. So 3/4 of the season is still left to go, and we have to find a way to win.
That is Jags owner Shad Khan talking about the slow start for the Jaguars. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here, Bill O'Brien fired. More on that in a moment.
Yeah.
But a quick thought just from a football perspective on Shad Khan. Is that a good way to think for him? I mean, 3-1 a couple years ago. I mean, it's a good way to spin it, I guess, in a sense of the patience. And I will say this. We're going to talk about Bill O'Brien being fired. Mm-hmm. He has said on record before, doesn't really think there's a lot that gets done in terms of firing a guy in the middle of the season. Mm-hmm. That's what Shad Khan has said. Now he ended up firing, obviously, Gus Bradley with 2 games to go. But I think he means in the middle of a season, kind of like this early on. So he has shown so much patience at times with his head coaches and GMs, and too much loyalty in that sense for a lot of fans. So, I mean, is that kind of the tact he has to take, though? He's like, hey, we were 3-1 one time and it ends up blowing up. We lost like 9 in a row. 1-3. Let's see if we can get this thing on the rails a bit.
I mean, listen, that's the optimist way to say it. You know, that's the owner's way to say it. But let's be honest right now. You're 1-3 against you're probably the easiest part of your schedule the entire NFL, right? I mean, you played the Dolphins and the Bengals. It's only going to get harder from here. You got teams like the Ravens. You got teams, we'll see what happens with Houston now, but you still got the Colts again. You got the Titans again. You got the Chargers. You got to travel over there. There's a lot of hard games on the schedule right now. So, in my opinion, it's hard to be a little optimistic when you went 1-3 against most essentially the easiest part of your schedule.
We'll see. We'll talk more a little bit about Shad Khan and what he was talking about today, obviously with a lot of J stuff. But the breaking news right now, and it actually goes kind of hand in hand with what we're talking about. And Shad Khan has been in this position before. Did he hang on to Gus Bradley too long? Ended up firing him, ironically, after a Houston game. With 2 games to go in the regular season. Now he's very patient with Dave Caldwell and Doug Marrone. Brings him back this year. People wonder what the situation will be in a couple of months and what their record is and if they'll hang on and if they're part of this build again or if they're going to reset things. Well, the Houston Texans have just decided it's over for Bill O'Brien. Yeah. They fire Bill O'Brien after an 0-4 start. Didn't realize until you were showing me some J.J. Watt sound. They haven't forced a turnover this year. They just paid their quarterback $140 million. Let's be honest, even Deshaun Watson has not played great football since he got paid, but they have not played great. The whole mismanagement of the roster and Bill O'Brien has to be a factor here because he tried to play smartest guy in the room to a degree. Well, I mean, how if you're Bob McNair is the owner of the Houston Texans, how if you're Bob McNair do you not say, would you not watch DeAndre Hopkins every week? And now you must say to yourself, DeAndre Hopkins, we just let go. Mm-hmm. We just let him walk for hardly anything in return, quite frankly, if you talk about skill for that position and that guy, maybe the best receiver in the game. Yep. And now 4 weeks later, you're firing your head coach. So you lost them both. Yeah. It's a lot like what happened in Jacksonville. When you put it in perspective, it's like, well, people left. So, again, supposedly they left or they got mad because of Tom Coughlin. Mm-hmm. Well, if you leave and so Jalen Ramsey traded away, Jan wants out. These guys want to go because of Coughlin. Well, then you fired Coughlin. Yeah. So now you have nobody. Like, why did this happen? Right? Well, that's my point. It's like, well, wait, just in the Hopkins and O'Brien situation here, maybe 4 months apart, it's like you lost on both ends of that.
Listen, congratulations on calling this bet, by the way. You called that Bill O'Brien will be fired, so go ahead and collect your slip. Congratulations, Brent.
Listen, I don't win a lot. Yeah. But I did predict that I thought they would go in the tank, not tank on purpose, but go in the tank. Yep. And I didn't think Bill O'Brien would make it through the year. I'm a little surprised that he only made it 4 weeks.
Big dub, Brent. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations with that. Listen, Bill O'Brien, I mean, it was obviously on the hot seat from last season, right? You go to Kansas City, you're up by, what were they, up 21? Or
24-0.
24-0, yeah. And then they lose that game, obviously, in a disgusting fashion. Off-season strikes. You trade away possibly the best wide receiver in the game for David Johnson, a second-round pick. But now here's the thing about that, right? So Bill O'Brien, the head coach, and the GM, right? So, I mean, all the roster moves were coming from him. I get it. You played a murderer's row those first 4 games. Well, first 3 games, let's call it. You know, you guys they played the Chiefs, they played the Ravens, and the Steelers. We'll say what you want about the Ravens. They're still a tough team to compete with, right? So then the Vikings this past, Sunday, it is what it is there. But overall, it's 4 pretty competitive games, to say the least.
A lot of teams would be 1-3 at best.
Exactly.
Off that slate.
And here's the thing about it, right? The owner, Bob McNair, McNair goes, listen, you traded away probably the best wide receiver in the game for what? Like, obviously there's some kind of plan around this. So if I'm the owner, I'm like, all right, well, let's see what this plan is. Like, I want to see this finished product in O'Brien's mind because we just gave away Hopkins. What are we going to, like, what's the plan here? O'Brien didn't even really get a chance to showcase the plan. The owner's like, no, we're 0-4 right now. Yeah, I don't care who we played. We're 0-4. I had high expectations. We're 0-4. We'll see you later. Get to stepping. Simple as that. We didn't even see the Bill O'Brien experiment play through wholeheartedly because the owner wasn't having it. And you know what? Probably rightfully so.
I think this is, Bill O'Brien was pretty good for them. I mean, if you look at how many times they got him in the playoffs, but it certainly seemed like Bill O'Brien was never going to get over the top with them. Had a lot of talent. And the reason why I thought that they would not do great this year was not because of Deshaun Watson or anything. I actually thought their offense, they have some players. Like, Will Fuller almost made a tremendous catch in that game, and they might have had a 2-point conversion to tie it up yesterday.
Yeah, he's still
so
healthy.
They're playing hard.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I think their defense has gotten older. I think the combination of the way they built this thing is not good in Houston. Like, it didn't look like they were building it to take a next level.
Yeah.
They were kind of building it to be 9-7. Like, they weren't going to go to 13-3 the way they constructed this thing, especially when you get rid of DeAndre Hopkins. So I just asked the question, do you think he got fired, though, because of all the roster build stuff? And it went wrong and some of it not all wrong, because Laremy Tunsil actually is a good player.
Yeah.
But still, they might have given up too much for that. Or do you think he got fired because he was a head coach that wasn't going to take you to the top? Because you could easily, if you're Bob McNair, say, hey, get the GM back in here or bring somebody else in here because McNair made a mistake. You don't give the coach the GM responsibilities to. That's an old school thing that we've seen hasn't worked, and it doesn't work, and that was a silly move by the owner to do anyway.
No, that was a tactical error to say the least. But with Bob McNair's defense, though, listen, I mean, Bill O'Brien didn't trade away Hopkins to tank for the season. They didn't trade away the best wide receiver possibly in the game to tank for Trevor Lawrence. There was a plan in place. Now, whether that plan was David Johnson, whether that plan was a new offense, a new look, whatever that plan was, Bill O'Brien had that in the back of his mind. And once again, Bob McNair goes, I don't even want to see your plan anymore because we're 0-4. So I think it's a combination of both. It's a combination of seeing, well, listen, if they had Hopkins right now, they'd probably be sitting a little better, number one. And number two, well, we don't have Hopkins. I let you do things your way. You had a plan. We're 0-4. I don't care who we played. Hit the road. And it's simple as that. So I think to answer your question, it's a combination of them both. If you're Bob McNair, you let O'Brien do his thing. You let him trade away who he traded away, and you said, all right, I wouldn't do it probably, but let's sit back and see where this goes. You went to 0-4, and now I have to let you go. Have a good one.
And by the way, they have pushed a lot of picks away. Like the Miami Dolphins right now are sitting on this jackpot of picks because Houston stinks. Mm-hmm. Like Houston right now is obviously a top, depending on how the tiebreaker shakes out, but they're in the mix for the number one pick, and that goes to the Miami Dolphins. And that's not the only pick that goes away.
Yeah, for sure.
I can almost not even have a serious conversation with you about the Houston Texans because you are so caught up in the mentions.
I love it.
You are giddy about the mentions of the Houston Texans, and I appreciate that about you. It's almost like your love affair with their demise is like me if the Yankees were to just get swept in the next week.
Dude, it's contagious. And keep in mind, back when I played Houston, they always had a number. I mean, Houston was a fantastic team. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm probably a little more bummed out right now about Bill O'Brien being let go than about the Jaguars game yesterday because now it's an end of an era. Now Houston Texans fans are celebrating on Twitter. I just went to their mentions. Everyone's happy. Smiley face emojis for everybody right now. It's like Oprah Winfrey. Houston Texans are going, you get an emoji. You get a smiley face emoji. No. I want despair. I want suffering because you know why? I'm sitting here with a 1-3 team right now who just got beat by the Bengals. The only thing that I had going for me was the fact that, well, we're not as bad as Houston Texans are. We didn't trade away DeAndre Hopkins like they did. We're okay. And now they fired the piece that was responsible for it, and now they're all happy about it. And I'm sitting here in the doldrums, miserable, wanting somebody else to laugh at and cry over. And I can't do it.
Well, here's the thing. This is why I asked you.
Maybe the Jets.
This is why I asked you. But I want everybody to know, by the way, Austin is just giddy over the mentions. He looks at the Schefter tweet, and he's now looking at the mentions.
I love it.
And they're in a bad spot. Houston. They have a quarterback.
Yeah.
but they're going to watch a lot of it. They have to rebuild that thing in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
They might have a left tackle, too. They've got some pieces. It's not awful, but they've got some reworking to do, whoever jumps in there. And by the way, I'll tell you this, and I think Tony Polster just said, like, it'll be hard for them to get a coach. And I agree with him. I don't think that job's very attractive, even with Deshaun Watson. Like, I would say the Jags' job, with all that's at their disposal with draft picks and cap space and everything else, could be a more attractive job than Houston. I mean, is Deshaun Watson that much of a reason to go get that job with everything else that surrounds that program right now?
He's the fixture there, though, right? Like, there's a reason why.
At least you have that.
Yeah,
right?
like, there's a reason why McCarthy, I think, went to Dallas, right? Because he saw Dak Prescott. Now, obviously, they're struggling. But, like, I think Watson he's the X factor. I think with a lot of these, rebuilding, teams, things like that, it's always about the quarterback. And then you have pressure. Well, who do we draft? How do we evaluate our talent? What kind of quarterback are we looking for? I think with Deshaun Watson, I think that he's so, he knew a lot of different things, right? He's kind of a Swiss Army knife in terms of being able to run with the football, obviously, extending the drives, extending the plays, things like that, where he can fit into a lot of schemes. So I think from that standpoint, that perspective, any head coach that comes in is going to be wanting to go to work with Deshaun Watson because he is kind of that dynamic quarterback.
Yeah, this will be fascinating to me to watch. I think the Jags have set themselves up to be in a very attractive job in 2021, especially compared to 2020. I think, you know me, that's a big thought I have about this whole thing. I think that's why, in some respects, Caldwell and Marrone are still here. The look of this thing wasn't good. I don't think you would have attracted a great hire, or at least not a top hire. I think you have a better chance of that in 2021. Well, now Houston will have a heck of a head start on all of that, if that's the case. And we'll get way ahead of ourselves, right? Yeah. But if it is the case, but it could be a reality. I mean, let's just be honest. They're 1-3. Jags, you can't find many more wins. The Jags could be looking for a GM and a head coach just like Houston is in December or January. And so it's an interesting look. I like the fact they have Deshaun Watson already, but I also might like the fact that I get to pick my quarterback if I'm a GM, a head coach coming in, and I've got some of this young talent here, and I have cap space, and I have a ton of draft picks. It will be interesting to see which job measures up to be better, and it will probably take some clearing out of that to see over the next couple of months and see exactly where everybody is. But the reason I asked the GM versus the coach thing with Bill O'Brien, because look at him as a coach. Jags fans, if you're being honest with yourself, you'd sign up for this. 9-7, second in the AFC South. 9-7, first in the AFC South. 9-7, first in the AFC South. Had a miserable 4-12 year, the year the Jags went to the AFC Championship game. 11-5, first in the AFC South. 10-6, first in the AFC South. Austin, this guy has won 4 AFC South championships in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 in the last 6 years.
Sure.
Now, he only has 2 playoff wins. And he blew the big one, obviously, against Kansas City last year. Yep. But he's only got 2 playoff wins. That is not that bad of a resume, though, especially relative to a place like Jacksonville.
But you know what? And this is what makes a winning organization. Some would call that fans, owner, maybe some players. We'll call it underachieving.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jaguars fans would celebrate, winning divisions back to back. We would be. Can you imagine?
I agree.
Can you imagine the beach bars?
Oh my gosh.
Whew. Social distancing.
I'd like to complain about this.
That's what I'm saying. But there, it's underachieving. Simple as that.
And by the way, he had a few years he had. J.J. Watt's the best player in the game on defense. Yeah. He's had one of the young dynamic quarterbacks, which they brought in. But I guess the reality of it to me is if you look at this resume, he didn't get fired because he's a bad coach. He got fired because he's awful at personnel, and he screwed this whole thing up.
Sure.
And listen, when you're bad at something, when you're in a position of leadership, one of your jobs is to bring somebody else in that might be good at that. Not think you can do everything. Bill O'Brien, probably from an egotistical point of view, said, I can fix everything. And instead, he messed it all up and probably got himself fired, even though he's a halfway decent head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, his record says he's a pretty good head coach. I mean, he's 52-48, which if you're over 500 in the NFL, it doesn't put you in the Hall of Fame, but it doesn't mean you're a bad coach. A lot of people would sign up for over 500 records in the NFL.
Listen, can we have some kind of like montage where it's, that girl singing "I Will Remember You"? Can we just do like a little highlight film of Bill O'Brien? Because I want to go back to the draft day, Brent, when he was chewing out the scouts or whatever. Remember when it was the draft and he was on his computer with his glasses trying to look and he slams the phone down? There's so many choice cuts. There's so many deep tracks. That was the layer cake of Bill O'Brien that I'm going to miss it, man. It's the end of an era. And Houston, thank you for the memories. Tough time, COVID-19, all that stuff. You guys kept me going. You guys kept me laughing. It's the end of an era. I have to go to the Jets now. And hopefully, and who's the GM of the Jets?
Joe Douglas.
Joe Douglas. Wait till the end of the year to fire Gase, please, all right? Because I'm not sure what you guys are bringing to the table for mentions and things like that on Twitter. I'm going to peep you guys out after the show, but I need a new team to make me feel better about my team. So, Jets, don't disappoint me.
I just asked on social media kind of what we were just talking about. Who has a better-looking job in 2021, Jags or Texans? It's so funny. First response, Texans by a mile. Next response, Jags easy.
Yeah.
You got to love it. Hey, listen, I didn't ask who you guys were voting for. Let's see. I can't answer that question, Brent. I can't. I would be the first to congratulate the interim coach on his first NFL victory this Sunday. By the way, that's Romeo Cornell. And thanks a lot, Bob McNair, for the new coach bump that the Jags are going to have to deal with on Sunday.
Inspired play now, Brent. Inspired play coming from the Houston Texans.
Big Cat Country, which has renamed themselves Big Sad Country. The team that has multiple picks in the first round or the second round. I'm going to go with the team that will likely be picking 5 times before the other one picks once. And it's interesting, but then somebody else will throw back at you, well, they've got Deshaun Watson. But I agree. I think the Jags' job is more attractive for somebody who wants to be an architect and build something, and that's what these guys really want to do. The GM and the coach, they want their own people. Now, a lot of people would take Deshaun Watson. I mean, in a heartbeat, I get it. They're not going to dismiss that. But if you take Deshaun Watson and then you say, yeah, but you don't have a couple of picks until 2022, and you've got an aging J.J. Watt, and you've got this on offense, and you got this, and you're stuck with all this stuff. You come to Jacksonville, you're not stuck with anything. Mm-hmm. You're really not. That's the thing. In 2021, a new hire in GM, if it happens, if it needs to happen, and a new coach, they are not stuck with anything. At all. They've got cap space, they've got flexibility, they've got draft picks, and they really don't even have big contracts on their hands. They got Miles Jack and Joe Schobert. True. That's it.
Yeah, I think Houston on the opposite end of that spectrum where they have a lot of money tied up with a lot of places. So that's a good point.
Keaton's on the line, jumps in the conversation. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What's up, man?
Hey, guys. I just wanted to call in to talk about some college football to take my mind off of what happened on Sunday, but boy, I got to talk about my Crimson Tide, man. Alabama's looking strong again. Mac Jones slinging the ball 20 for 27, 435, and 4 TDs. And Jalen Waddle, that kid just has the ability to take over a game, any game he's in, really. He's such a dangerous threat. But really, I just kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on the college football season so far. It's been wild. You've seen some disappointments, like Oklahoma is 0-2 for the season right now. You've got the Florida Gators looking really strong as well. But I wanted to get your thoughts. Hey, what's your biggest overachiever as far as a team so far this season? And what's your biggest disappointment? And maybe do you have a sneaky team that might go into the playoffs this year? Love to hear what you guys think. Appreciate it.
Keaton, I appreciate it. Thanks. We'll jump on the college. I do want to get to college football a little bit. We got the breaking news on Bill O'Brien. It's led us down this road. So we'll jump into the college scene. Florida Gators had a big week. Florida State finally got a win. It might be their only one for a while. And, of course, the Georgia Bulldogs looked awesome, I thought. So it changed the dynamic of how you look at that game coming up in Jacksonville in about a month. So we'll get on that. We're going to take a break here in a few minutes anyway. But I want to finish up on the Bill O'Brien stuff and Houston stuff. Because do you now Tony, by the way, brought up another good point, and I had said this to you in the break. $255 million, I think. It's like the biggest payroll in the NFL this year is what they're spending, and they're getting 0-4 right now for the Houston Texans. Are they just bad? Like, are they going to be 2-14? They'll get the Romeo Cornell bump?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the ceiling for them?
Looking at their schedule right now, it obviously gets a lot easier. How could it not get easier? I think we're talking about, listen, I think the Texans can make a run. I think you're talking maybe 7 wins. Honestly, realistically, 7.
Yeah, you don't mean a run for the playoffs or for the AFC South. You just mean a run of wins.
A run of wins, 2 or 3 put together. Yeah, I can see 6 or 7 wins for this team.
Yeah, they got through again. I think a lot of teams could have been 1-3. Dallas is 1-3 too, but they've played some pretty good teams. But the bottom line is, in this league, there are decent teams, and you better beat the decent teams.
Houston,
if you're any good.
Check this out, Houston. They still have they have the Packers, they have the Browns, Patriots, Lions. What about that? And the Bears.
Are the Houston Texans 6.5 points better than the Jags?
Yes. How are the Jaguars going to stop that Houston Texans offense? For what I've seen so far, I think eventually J.J. Watt gets home. Here's where my mind goes to with that question. I don't know how you're going to stop Deshaun Watson and that offense. I don't know how you're going to handle Will Fuller. I don't know Brandon Cooks. I'm not sure Brandon Cooks is still playing or not. If he's playing, I don't know how you're going to stop him as well. I don't know how you're going to stop the receiving threat of one David Johnson. I don't know, Brent. All right, and especially if you can't get home against Joe Burrow, well, then what is Deshaun Watson going to do? And by the way, if you do get home one time, what's Deshaun Watson going to do if you don't have gap integrity? What's Deshaun Watson going to do if you don't stay in your lanes? I don't know, take off for 20, 30 a pop? So, yeah, I think the Texans right now, from what I've seen from both teams, they can score at will. And the Jaguars can maybe do the same thing for a while, but I think eventually that Texans defensive line, their linebackers, they find a way to make a play.
I get the whole Deshaun Watson thing. I just don't know if he's playing well. I get he scares you, and I get all that stuff. Joe Burrow might have been playing better than Deshaun Watson, quite frankly.
Was Ryan Fitzpatrick playing well?
I understand.
Don't know, man.
I think anybody's going to throw for 300 against the Jags.
Yeah.
I really do. But are they going to run the ball at all? I mean, they'll be pretty one-dimensional.
Sure. No, I'm sure this would be the David Johnson game. It's going to be shades of 2 or 3 years ago in Arizona when he was the fantasy football leader in rushing yards. Get ready for your David Johnson game, possibly. Until I see something different, Brent, until I have a reason not to think that the Jaguars are who they are, who they think that they are, who I think they are, I think David Johnson has a big game. How could I not think that?
Well, because 3 out of 4 games, guys didn't have big games.
What do you mean? You're talking about David Johnson?
I'm talking about running backs. I mean, Derrick Henry, you would say the same. Derrick Henry had 84 yards. Sure. It wasn't a big game.
Sure.
I mean,
But then Ryan Tannehill also had a bit. See, to me, it's I think the focus should be on stopping Deshaun Watson more than David Johnson. So if that's the focus, well, then David Johnson's going to get some run.
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask this question. Who would you rather stop right now, Deshaun Watson or David Johnson? If you're a defensive coordinator and you're game planning, and I get it, stop the run should be essential, but let's be honest here. If you put the game records on the board right now, you say, we got to shut these guys down. We have to make sure this guy doesn't have a great game. Are you saying David Johnson? Or are you saying Deshaun Watson?
I'm saying Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
But I say that with a little bit of a catch because I feel like I'm going to sign up for any quarterback to give 300 yards. I just can't have the running back running for $150.
I guess.
I mean, it's the way they're built.
No, sure.
Like you said, right? You can't be the identity. You can't say, I want to stop the run and then give up 150 yards.
Absolutely. But at the same time, give up 300 yards passing, but don't give up 400 yards passing, I guess then. I don't know what to tell you.
My gosh, it's the hardest thing I've ever done is find how many points the Texans have given up.
Well, that's because Bill O'Brien's shutting down Twitter right now, man. The internet's afoot here.
I can't even still find it.
What are you trying to find?
NFL.com. Sometimes your website's terrible.
What are you trying to find? I got you, man. What are you trying to find right now?
I want to know how much, can the Jags outscore them? Their defense is whatever.
Oh, you want to say where they rank in the NFL, the Texans' defense?
Yeah, they gave up 31 to Minnesota, who couldn't get a touchdown for the first 3 weeks. Cousins couldn't complete a pass, it felt like, for the first 3 weeks.
I got you. So in terms of team defense, you want to go points per game?
Yeah, just points per game. What are they giving up?
All right. We're going down to the bottom here, Brent. 31.5. Oh, man. Oh, 31.5. Oh, J.J. Watt, how'd that happen to you, man? JJ, what's going on in Houston?
Yeah, played Kansas City, I played Baltimore, right?
31.5.
When we break down this game, it'll be interesting when we break down this game.
Yeah.
I know Deshaun Watson's going to win the day, but after that, I wonder who else wins the day roster to roster. That's what I'm going to wonder.
Brent, do we call it a J.J. Watt game?
I'm just saying, man.
Well, the guy's almost in tears in the press conferences. You think eventually he's going to bounce out of it and have a big day.
I'm just saying, do the Houston Texans really just flat out stink? That's what I'm really trying to find out. Or did they just get off to a slow start?
It's a good call.
Bill O'Brien fired. It's the big story. Romeo Crennel will be the coach against the Jags on Sunday. We come back. We will talk a little bit of college football, thought or two maybe on the NBA, and we'll put a bow on a Monday here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Mostly cloudy tonight, mild temperatures with a little drizzle or some showers at times. Temperatures in the lower 70s. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamonds. Don't miss Beard's BOGO Wedding Band Sale October 10th through the 24th.
Hey, boss, guess who I saw at the grocery store today?
I don't know. Elvis?
No, I saw your mom.
Ah, she doing good today?
Yeah, she's great. Said to say hello. Oh, and to thank you again for the Safe Touch security system you got her.
Ah, Safe Touch, the source of all my internal conflict.
Huh?
See, on one hand, as a cook, I hate Safe Touch security. But as a son, I love Safe Touch because they help protect my ma.
Yeah, she loves having the medical and panic buttons. Oh, and the two-way communicator's been great. She says Safe Touch makes her feel safe.
And so my personal tug-of-war continues. I hate Safe Touch. I love Safe Touch.
Well, love 'em or hate 'em, we still gotta stick to the Crooks or Us motto. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah. Unless it's Mom's house.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson, president of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Call Safe Touch today at 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license number EF233.
The current coronavirus outbreak has caused difficulties for many of our area's small businesses. From losing customers to falling behind in payments, business owners need help. At SCORE, our highly trained counselors are here to help. In Jacksonville, SCORE provides services to almost 6,000 individuals annually. We are currently mentoring virtually and identifying possible financial assistance through the SBA and other resources. Visit jacksonville.score.org for links with more information.
Bring a little spice into your sex life. Adam and Eve Adult Store. It's the trusted name in adult entertainment. Secure private shopping experience at AdamEveOutlet.com. That's AdamEveOutlet.com.
No matter what you are driving, you can step up to luxury now at any of the Fields Auto Group dealerships in Jacksonville. Cadillac, Jaguar, Land Rover, Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, and Porsche. Yes, it's luxury for less at all Fields Auto Group locations in Jacksonville. Plus, you'll also be part of their exclusive Fields Amenities program, where you will get complimentary loaners, car washes, and cafes. So whatever you're driving, see Fields first and step up to luxury for less during this amazing opportunity. Visit fieldsauto.com.
Zero Res here. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129. Mention Happy Birthday Zero Res, and I will throw in the stairs or the hallway for free.
Attention all Camry buyers. If you've been wanting a new Camry, then I've got great news for you, because today's the day to get your Camry and save big at Arlington Toyota. It's the Today's the Day sales event going on now at Arlington, and they've made a special purchase of 2020 Camrys. That means they've got 132 new 2020 Camrys in stock and ready to sell. But with a deal like this, you got to get yours before they're all gone. Make today the day you save big at Arlington and buy a new 2020 Camry at 0% for 60 months plus no payments for 90 days. And with every new vehicle purchase from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. Want a new Camry? Then today's the day, but they're going fast, so don't wait. Shop safely in person. 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/today's the day for full details.
As the seasons change, there's one thing that never changes: the importance of clean drinking water. A Connecticut system from CGC Water removes up to 99% of contaminants. Now that's clean, and that's also why our family has a Connecticut system from CGC Water. Yours can too. Right now, CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. Connecticut Premier softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, saving you money. If you're not filtering your water, You are the filter. Schedule your free water test today and get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is still taking extra precautions with in-home visits and continuing to follow CDC guidelines. Remember, this is a limited time offer, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. Financing available with approved credit. Just call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Serving Northeast Florida and Southeast Georgia, CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and to watch your favorite teams at the start of football season, then make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474 and demand they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
Appliances may work on your schedule, but they quit on theirs. At Atlantic Coast Appliance, we'll get your appliances back up and running in no time at all. Our factory-trained and certified technicians have repaired more than 100,000 appliances over the past 35 years, servicing Jacksonville to St. Augustine and Ponte Vedra with a 90-day warranty on parts and labor, plus a 100% satisfaction guarantee. When your appliances quit, we're ready to get started. For quality repair at a price that's fair, visit AtlanticCoastAppliance.com.
The football season is underway, and you can track the latest news and information at betonline.net. The early season storylines have not disappointed thus far, and betonline.net has odds and lines all the way through the season and even into the playoffs. In Week 4, will road teams dominate the way they did in Week 3, going 9-6-1? Follow along at betonline.net as 32 teams continue their journey to Tampa in February. Always available online or your mobile device. Check out betonline.net today. Bring the game home at betonline.net.
For more than 25 years, the potential for health improvement is seen with each patient that walks through our doors. Healthcare decisions don't have to be confusing. Make Island Doctors your medical practice.
My husband and I have been coming to Island Doctors for approximately 10 years, and we have been very happy with them, and we trust them.
Call us today and schedule a tour of one of our locations near you and take a look at our Best Wellness program, and welcome home.
Call 1-877-434-4676 or visit islanddoctors.com.
ESPN 690 Sports Center Update.
Happy Monday. I'm Jake Mitchell. Yesterday in the NFL, the Jags struggled to find a pass rush again as they fell to 1-3, losing to the until yesterday winless Cincinnati Bengals 25-33. Undrafted rookie running back James Robinson continued to impress, and Gardner Minshew threw for 351 yards, 2 TDs, and 1 pick, but it still wasn't enough. Here's Jags QB1 Gardner Minshew, who's looking for answers.
It's one of those things that, we set out every drive to go score 7 points. We fall short sometimes, we get it sometimes. No matter what, I think we just got to take it one play at a time, one drive at a time mentality, and that's our best recipe for success.
And in NBA Finals news, Jimmy Butler's huge night pushed the Heat past the LA Lakers, which now lead the series 2-1. If you're working from home and want to listen to ESPN, tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 690.
Hey, it's Goose from Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Now, I know there's a ton of ways you can listen to the show, but did you know one of the ways is through a smart speaker? Yes, the Google Home, the Amazon Alexa. Pretty easy to do. Just tell either of them to play ESPN 690. Try it out weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m., and you can listen to Action Sports Jacks.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
This is part of our commitment to the city of Jacksonville, I think, to have a vital downtown. And, I said this 8 years ago, plus when I was introduced as owner of the Jaguars, I was going to look for every way to, make NFL football viable here. This is just one part of the strategy.
That is Jags owner Shad Khan, and Jags fans hate that word viable. They wish you'd lose it from the vocabulary.
Yeah.
They absolutely hate it if you hang around on Twitter.
They've heard a lot.
And especially when it comes to London. And by the way, the London extension has ended, right? The London deal is basically ended. Now, will they re-up and all those things? Now,
so it didn't transfer over to next year. I mean, it's
no, it
done.
wasn't just a slide over.
Huh.
At least that's what Shad Khan indicated today. So now, if they have
6 games.
if they have construction going on, all this other stuff, I think they're headed? Yeah, but we've also heard from a lot of folks, the London experiment hasn't worked to the degree that people thought, like in terms of a franchise being there or anything like that. It's more this one-off kind of thing, or in the Jags case, it was going to be a 2-off thing. I think we'll save the London conversation. I want to talk a little bit about Lot J in just a moment, but Keaton had called in about college football as we're in the Bill O'Brien weeds and talking about that. Quick thought or two on college football coming off the weekend. Florida or Georgia? Right now, who's better?
I mean, listen, the defensive person in me wants to say, well, Georgia. Like, I mean,
they're pretty stout there, man.
Their defense is absolutely loaded. Probably the best defense in all of college football right now, from what I've seen watching games. But listen,
does it matter?
I'm not naive, man. All right, like listen, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm putting extra sugar in it just because it's all about offense this year. And when you talk about offense right now, you're talking about the offensive juggernaut of Kyle Trask and the Florida Gators.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because their defense is not very good.
No.
Right now. They got a long way to grow. Listen, we're about a month away from the clash in Jacksonville, which is really cool. It's a great collision. That was a big win for Georgia over Auburn to get that. Now, they've got some other hurdles, but that game is going to mean something, it looks like, in Jacksonville, which is good. And by the way, the Gators have a bunch of hurdles coming up the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So we are going to learn a lot these next couple of weeks. We got Georgia against Tennessee, Georgia against Alabama, Florida against Texas A&M on the road, Florida against LSU. And Georgia's got it more difficult, in my opinion, because LSU certainly isn't what they were. And Texas A&M, I still think is just okay. Jimbo's not taking them to great heights.
Yeah.
But it's still challenging the next couple of weeks. So I tend to agree with you. The way the world is right now, I don't want the great defense. I want the offense that's going to score 50.
Yeah.
And there's no, the Georgia Bulldogs were impressive the other night. That was a great bounce-back performance. And it was really interesting if you take I love watching the temperature because I'm not a fan of either, or Florida State or any of them. But the passionate fan base, Florida, what they're thinking. They're like, all right, we're still shaky on defense. But we just beat South Carolina. We're 2-0. Yeah. Georgia, they might lose tonight between the hedges. Watch what happened to them against Arkansas. They might lose. By the end of the day, we're going to be, Georgia, you stink. And heck, Florida State was down 14. Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And then all of a sudden by 8:30, it was like,
no, don't worry about it. Big Game Bo, never heard of them.
Yeah, maybe we haven't.
Welcome to the hedges.
By the end of it, it's kind of like Gator fans maybe like, maybe we haven't closed the gap with Georgia as much as we think we have.
Welcome to the hedges. Exactly, right? Oh, by the way, hey, Georgia fans, let's practice social distancing just a little. Just a teeny, tiny bit. You guys were crowd surfing there in the hedges. What do we, listen, I don't want to get political here, but this is why we can't have nice things. There's supposed to be rules in place. You guys are kind of breaking them right now.
So it's fascinating to watch that elevator of emotion, especially when you don't really have a dog in the fight. That's what I think is kind of fun. And so I think no play on words here in terms of dog in the fight with the Georgia Bulldogs. But it should be a lot of fun to watch these two teams in the East. And don't sleep on Tennessee. Keaton just asked us, who's your overachieving team, a little bit of a surprise, or maybe your overrated team?
Yeah.
Well, Oklahoma and Texas are the overrated teams, right?
Without a doubt.
Oklahoma's now 0-2. Listen, so Oklahoma is done.
Oh, yeah. And Oklahoma, especially for me, just because, listen, I'm so desensitized to Oklahoma football, right? We always expect the Heisman Trophy front runner in terms of the quarterback. They get a young kid by the name of Spencer Rattler, right? Spencer Rattler had all the accolades in high school, and I'll be honest, I watched both Oklahoma games front to back. And when he came in, I'm like, all right, well, here we go. Another Baker Mayfield, if you will. Another Jalen Hurts. Needless to say, though, the kid's young, right? And then the kid struggled. This isn't what we're accustomed to seeing from Oklahoma. Now, I get it. Lincoln Riley went ballistic for the first 2 games because some calls didn't go his way towards the end. At the end of the day, you should never be in those situations in the first place, playing teams like Kansas State and Iowa State. So, yeah, Oklahoma is definitely a very, very underachieving team.
All right, well, got a team that is
or overrated, I should say.
Overrated. Yeah. A team that's maybe underrated and is overachieving right now and climbing the ranks. I think North Carolina what Mac Brown's done is very impressive.
Yeah.
He's got a good quarterback in Sam Howell. I'm a little bit in wait-and-see mode on North Carolina, but they're top 10 in the country. It's awfully odd to look at the top 10 and see North Carolina in the top 10, and we're not talking basketball.
Yep.
So I think that's interesting. I also do think Tennessee. I wonder about Tennessee in Georgia this week.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fascinating look. Has Jeremy Pruitt done that good of a job to be able to pull an upset? That's a big-time rivalry game now. And so Tennessee is an interesting watch. Could they spoil the Florida and Georgia party in the SEC East?
Brent, you're so innocent. You're so innocent, and I don't want to see you get hurt, okay? And I'm afraid right now you're setting yourself up to get hurt because it's the same thing every single year for the Tennessee Volunteers. They're the dark horse. They're the dark horse, dark horse, dark horse, dark horse. And every single year, a lot like Texas teams recently, they find a way to break your heart, all right? So I'm just saying, obviously we're going to tell this week against Georgia, but please, Brent, please don't get your heart broken again, man. Don't buy in the Tennessee hype. Come on.
I'm just sucking up to A.B. Kelly on social media, who just kills me all the time for protecting or defending the Jags in his opinion.
I got you. Fair enough. Well, listen, there's a couple teams out there that are kind of surprises to me, and I get it. The season's still young, but I'm going Miami, man. I'm going the Hurricanes because I watched game number 1 against the UAB Blazers, and I'll be honest with you, was not impressed with King, was not impressed with Miami. Yeah, they won 31-14, but it was a close game in the first half. I'm like, this is supposed to be the team that's going to give, maybe a Clemson maybe a little run for its money. I was like, absolutely not. Well, these past 2 games, Louisville and obviously Florida State, we know what happened there. I like what I'm seeing from the Hurricanes. I think right now I'm buying into Manny Diaz. I'm buying into in terms of the brand that he brings to that program. He's trying to bring the renaissance back a little bit, if you will, and I'm buying into it. So I like the Miami Hurricanes.
I think what's interesting is Tennessee and Miami are in similar spots. It's like, okay, you're looking like you're a little something, but are you really something?
And it's the same thing with Miami, too. It's like every single year, Miami's making the next step. They're making the next step, and they never really do. So, good call, good comparison.
All right, so that's a little call. Oh, actually, Keaton asked about Alabama. Listen. Mac Jones, tremendous performance.
Return of the Mac.
435 yards. I like how Mac overcomes the bad plays. He did it against Auburn last year. We threw a couple of those pick sixes, but he bounced back and delivered. Like, you could go in the tank quick. Mac Jones, who hadn't played a ton of football, since playing at Bowls.
Yeah.
He had the pick six, and he bounces back, and he delivers. They got a ton of weapons. It's odd to see Alabama look like Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, they've scored points for a long time, but you're still so enamored with Saban and that hard-hitting defense and that fundamental defense, and they're good on defense. But you even said to me in the break, it's like, listen, they have breakdowns on defense. Yep. It's not like a far cry for them to give up big plays and touchdowns anymore. It used to be.
Yeah.
So we just still have to train ourselves to think they're an offensive juggernaut.
Yeah.
And that's what they are, and it's led by Mac Jones.
And also one more thing real quick. Shout out to Arkansas, and here's why. I'm not sure if you remember this, Brent, but we have a bet on the line. It's like a 5-year bet. Who's going to have the better production, Lane Kiffin or Mike Leach? Mike Leach comes out week 1, beats LSU. I'm like, well, Brent already won that bet in week 1 of a 5-year bet. But all of a sudden, don't count Lane Kiffin quite yet in the Ole Miss, Rebels. They had a good one against Kentucky, and obviously Leach gets beat by the Razorbacks. So we're back on board now.
That was a disaster of a performance by Mississippi State, not ringing the bell.
I'm just going to knock it over.
And
R.I.P.
So much so that the neighbors, they were out back. I knew they were. They might have even had food and drink.
Okay.
I was actually home, and I was thinking of coming over in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then I saw what was going on. I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going.
Nothing good's gonna come of it.
No,
nothing good's gonna come of it.
I don't want to be a part of this.
No.
So I'll have to wait till next time. That was disappointing.
How many games was Arkansas before they the 20. Last? Whew.
And by the way, Mississippi State played awful.
Oh yeah,
awful.
Oh yeah,
to even give them a chance to win the game.
Yeah,
you have to play bad to have a chance to win the game. That's how bad Arkansas is still not any good. No. But that was pretty wild. All right, I want to get a thought or two in on Lot J.
Yeah.
What's your overall consensus on this whole project? We've seen renderings. People complain, but we haven't seen any shovels in the ground. A little bit of this is politics. It's red tape. It's I think a JEA played a big role in this, whatever that whole thing happened last year. So we still haven't seen anything. Does the Lot J and the rendering still get you excited? Do you pause and say, yeah, whatever? I mean, we've heard this before. What's your view of what Shad Khan and the city are trying to do downtown?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it's awesome. Obviously, downtown needs to be built up. When people come out of town, I tell them, hey, hit up Jack's Beach. I mean, you can go to Riverside, but like downtown, there's not much going on. And I think downtown should be the heartbeat, the lifeblood of any major city, including Jacksonville. So obviously I'm excited for it. But with that being said, though, let's be honest. I've heard these conversations now, it seems like the past 4 or 5 years. I heard these conversations like the first time I got to Jacksonville. I feel like, all right, Lot J's getting built up pretty soon. So until I see excavators in the ground, until I see dump trucks with dirt in the back of them. I'm not talking about dump trucks on a rendering of a drawing or a computer screen. I mean like me standing there, with a gold shovel watching excavators go to work. Until that happens, my excitement's going to be very low.
If you've listened to me on radio or social media or wherever, I've been excited about the thought process of this for a long time. I understand the frustration and the angst at times of nothing being done, but I did see the freeway come down, and to me that was a significant step of what's about to come and potentially about to come. I'll also say this. If you're frustrated by the fact that, shovel still hasn't been in the ground and we've been talking about it for years, at least it's still being discussed and it hasn't been tabled. If that's your frustration point, because no talk about it would table it for years and years to come. Now, there's a part of people that say, hey, we don't need this right now. We have a lot of other issues. And I respect that. I am not in the weeds on the politics and what needs to be done with sewers and everything else downtown. I will just say from my experiences, I lived in a place in East Providence, Rhode Island, right next door to Providence, Rhode Island, that I saw change overnight when I went to college. It was a crappy place. Mm-hmm. It was a bad downtown. Had a lot of problems. I came back from college. They had built that sucker up. And if you have family, friends, whatever, that go to Providence, I guarantee you they say, man, it's awesome to go to Providence. Sure. It's great to eat there. It's great. It's a fun city. It's a cool looking city, the things they did. And that's like a prideful thing for me. Heck, I don't go back there very often, but at least now I like hearing people say that about a city that, to be honest with you, when I was a kid, I never went. Our parents didn't take us there. We didn't go. There was no reason to go. I also saw Foxborough. And a lot of people say, well, that's because the Patriots were good. No, it's not. It collided, and it was a good thing that it collided, and it made both even better. Mm-hmm. And so that would be perfect if the Jags would get good when this thing starts getting built. So that would be great. But the only thing worse than a bad NFL franchise right now, and the way it's been, is a bad NFL franchise in a bad downtown. Can at least start building the downtown up and pray that the football team gets better. So listen, I try to simplify this thing in a big time way, and I understand that there are deeper problems and more conversations. I'm just a sports guy, but I've seen it in my hometown, and I've seen it with that franchise in New England that it can work. And by the way, I'm not even mentioning places like Atlanta and St. Louis and Baltimore and all these other places. So I've been a big believer in at least something happening downtown to at least make it a better downtown. I don't know what the something is. I don't know how it's going to work, if it's going to work. The one that sat there kind of sitting there for the last 5 decades doing not much hasn't helped anybody out.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it's a great point where if you build downtown, the team starts doing good, then you got something special. And if the team doesn't start doing good, at least we'll have a Dave & Buster's down there to go check out some video games. I don't know, man.
There.
I'm excited. Yeah, you can go drink there.
Yeah, but listen, Jacksonville, it's my home now, right?
Yeah.
It's where our kids are.
It's my home, too.
This, you can fire me tomorrow, Cox Media Group, and I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? It's that place. And the beaches are great, right? I live down St. Johns County. It's great. You can run over to the town center. It's great.
Sure.
We've got good universities here. We've got north of the airport now. Around there is good.
Yeah.
The only thing left to really get better in terms of infrastructure and things to do is downtown.
Correct.
And so if something happens there, I'm all for it, man. I'm kind of like, I don't care how it gets done. You guys can sit there and complain and get mad about it and whose money's what. I just want to see it done. Like I've always said, I joke, the mayor in my hometown went to jail. Yeah. But I don't care because it got done. And my hometown's better.
Is that like the
Sorry,
slogan?
Mayor Curry, I'm not hoping you go to jail.
Is that like the slogan when you were driving the city? Yeah, our mayor went to jail, but who cares? It got done.
To me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Houston, Texas Twitter, man. Thanks for the memories. New York Jets Twitter. I'll see you guys very, very soon.
All right, 7 o'clock, CBS 47. It's the Chiefs and the Patriots tonight. A little extra football for you. We'll be back at it tomorrow on ESPN 690. Live Local Loud coming up, 7 o'clock Florida State coaches show, and then we'll join the Rays and Yankees in progress. Go Tampa!
This is Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690